a hybrid meeting via Zoom and in person at Old Town Hall. There are no scheduled hearings. Public input may be provided using the following methods. Contact our office at Board of Selectmen at dayton-ma.gov or call 774-872-0920 during the meeting. Via Zoom, you can go onto Zoom, and the meeting ID number is 842-9552-3321, and the pass code is 308528. YouTube channel for later viewing, and will be streamed live on Facebook at facebook.com/Town of Dayton. It should also be live on channel 9, hopefully. Call to order, roll call of the members. Mr. Hull?
Present.
Dr. Z?
Present.
And Ken Pacheco is present. We're all participating at Town Hall. I would ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and to remain standing, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask for a moment of silence for the following people.
Since the last meeting, 6 Dayton residents have passed. Our thoughts, prayers, and condolences go out to their families and friends. I would like to read their names. Alfred Pacheco. Mr. Pacheco served his country honorably in the U.S. Army during the Korean War. In 1971, he became a police officer with the Dayton Police Department, a job he faithfully served with integrity and distinction for 26 years, retiring as the chief of police in 1997. He also had the distinction of serving as the department's first canine officer, the first court officer, and the first department instructor. Also passing, John C. Costa. John was a longtime member of the Lions Club and a resident of Dayton for over 40 years. He was a Navy veteran during the Vietnam War and a member of the Dayton Community Church. Also passing, Natalie Brewer. Natalie was born in Dayton to Joseph and Gertrude Sylvia. She was a member of the Pilgrim Congregational Church in Taunton and was the mother-in-law of former Board of Selectmen Thomas Pyers and the grandmother of Human Rights Committee member Kristen Pyers. Also passing, George Mendoza. George was 95 years old. He moved to Dayton from Arizona in 1949 and was an Army veteran of World War II. George was in the construction business and survived by his daughter, Sharon. John Jones was 46 years old. He was a baseball coach for Dayton Youth Baseball and a strong supporter of the Dayton Youth Softball League and the Segregated Country Club. Also, Joseph Almeida, a resident of North Dayton and a veteran of the Army of Portugal. He owned his own contractor business in town and was a member of St. Nicholas of Myra Church. We ask for a moment of silence on their behalf. Thank you.
Thank you. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and the Board of Selectmen have a proclamation. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental health issues each year, but less than half get treatment, and whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has had a profound impact on the mental health of people of all ages, whereas suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, and whereas now, more than ever, it is critical to reduce the stigma around mental health struggles that commonly prevent individuals from seeking help, and whereas recognizing the early warning signs of mental health needs and obtaining the necessary support, assistance, and treatment gives individuals better
Tyler Hazel signed in.
to lead full and productive lives at home, in schools, and in the communities. And whereas each business, school, government organization, citizens share the burden of mental health problems and has the responsibility to promote wellness and support prevention and treatment efforts. And now, therefore, we, the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Dayton, do hereby proclaim May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's signed by the Chairman, Ken Pacheco, Len Ho, who is our clerk, and Dr. Brett Sugafis as a member of the Board of Selectmen. Do we need to take a vote on this proclamation, or I would ask for a motion to accept the proclamation.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the proclamation and declare the month of May as Mental Health Awareness Month in the town of Dayton.
I second it.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z? Ken Pacheco votes aye. Schedule appointments. We have, I've got some concerns about some calls regarding concerns about Pleasant Street. As you know, we voted it to be a safety zone at be 20 miles per hour. So I've invited Tom Ferry, our highway superintendent, to come to this meeting to give us some input and discussion on what's going on Pleasant Street. So, Mr. Ferry, are you there?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Would you please give us an update on Pleasant Street?
Yes, as you know, a lot of work has been done previously. Where we are right now is in part of that packet that Trippett did with all the study we had. The town is responsible for modifying their municipal traffic code to reflect the locations of all safety zones prior to posting any signage. That's one of the last steps. And along with that, I believe that's the meat and potatoes that stands behind a ticket if a ticket's written, so it's not cannot be challenged in court. As far as I know, we don't have an actual municipal traffic code yet. I believe they're referring to on our level, the local bylaw, the town's bylaw, so we need to rewrite that. Our last time we had the discussion in your meeting, we were just entering the budget process and we're just wrapping that up so we can start entertaining creating that bylaw and reviewing that and prepare something for the fall meeting. I believe that was the last plan we had at that time, so we could do that due diligence to the bylaw.
Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Does the board have any questions?
I did have a question, and I'm not sure if it's for Mr. Ferry or Town Administrator Mullen. But I just want to phrase this properly the first time. So in towns and cities where they have safety zones, yes, are we assuming that, unlike Pleasant Street, which already has, so I think the issue is obviously that Pleasant Street already had posted speed limit signs, and so that's why we're talking about possibly needing a bylaw in order to solidify tickets when they go through the court system. But in towns like Randolph that already have safety zones, do they not have to do that because they didn't have a posted speed limit there first? Like, did we ever look into what other towns and cities are doing that don't have bylaws but have safety zones?
Yes, we have, Dr. Z. And what over the last few weeks, I've talked to the town administrators and managers in the towns of Randolph, East Bridgewater, and Milton. And there's a distinction between the speed safety zone, like in what is actually, I believe in, there's a local option also outlined, I want to say, in section 6 of chapter 90 as well, which actually allows a town to reduce their speed limit to 25 miles an hour. So that local option law took effect in 2016. The speed safety zone local option took effect, as I understand, in around 2018. As of right now, Randolph has adopted the former. So they have adopted actually a town-wide, speed zone of 25 miles an hour. The difference with Randolph is they still had a bylaw, actually in the form of an ordinance, because their town has a town council, so they essentially have town meetings every other week, which allows for a quicker process. But I do have templates in the form of a bylaw from the towns of East Bridgewater and Milton, which have adopted not the speed safety zones to 20 miles an hour, but to 25 miles an hour, either in the whole town or like in distinct areas of the town. So going forward, to the point that Mr. Ferry had mentioned, we actually have a template to start with, and preparing our work for the special town meeting in the fall.
And what happens if the bylaw doesn't pass at the town meeting?
Then we have really no enforcement teeth. So in my opinion, we could have, on paper, we could have a safety zone in place, but the police department really wouldn't have any enforcement teeth or backup in order. They could issue all the tickets they wanted, but if they were appealed, there wouldn't be anything really backing any tickets up. So that's really why, in my opinion, we need a bylaw that would really provide the necessary due diligence and backup that we need.
Yes. And the only reason I ask those questions is because at the last meeting, as you know, Selectman Goulart had raised a concern about the need for, I'm probably not using the right phrasing, but like a school safety zone. And I think that if we're going to consider something like that, this board at least, then I think we should at least try to get the first safety zone squared away and bring it to town meeting and see how the public feels about safety zones in general. So those are my thoughts on that. Thank you.
So would we have to have a public hearing if we are going to have a bylaw change, bylaw addition, I guess it would be?
For the bylaw, for a new bylaw for the special town meeting, one could argue that there's already been a hearing that took place. Just to really make sure we do our due diligence, I don't think it would hurt in advance of the special town meeting in the fall, once we have official bylaw language, to have an additional public hearing.
I think I would like that.
Yeah, I think that's good. Like, for example, when we did the stretch energy code and the right to farm bylaw, I don't think we needed to have those public hearings, but I think it was good. People did come and you got tough questions.
Yeah.
But it was a nice place to be able to answer those questions before you got to the town meeting. So I think what you're saying, town administrator, is it's not necessary, but it's probably good practice.
Yes.
I would support it.
Mr. McDonald, Chief has a
Can I
question.
comment on that?
Yes, Chief.
Sure. So we put the radar sign down there last Friday, the new one we got, and this radar sign picks up the speeds of the vehicle going both ways. It tells how many cars have traveled that road on Pleasant Street. So we put that sign out there on Friday, and a number of cars have gone through there. There's 2,300 cars traveling on that road since Friday. Wow, that's quite a bit. So what this radar sign does, it gives you a 5 speed sign pie of the speeds of all the vehicles. So looking at this pie, it's 79% of the vehicles were below the speed limit. So we have that set at 40 because basically the speed is right now is 40 miles an hour. So 79% was below 40. The moderate above speed was 28.8. And then the vehicles going over the speed limit was only like 0.2%. So looking at that, it looks like cars aren't really going over the speed limit, maybe because the sign's there and they're obeying the sign right now, but we're gonna keep that down there. We're gonna see what the, if it changes or what happens over there. I plan on doing some type of, I'll say it's, speed control, but put some guys in different areas of the town. I know we're still getting a lot of complaints of cars everywhere, and I know that it's not just Pleasant Street, it's Forest Street, and we've had this discussion before. Excuse me. Main Street, William Street, so we're gonna try to get some officers out there, start monitoring the traffic, see if we can, try to set something here to try to slow this down, because summer is getting here now. We got people walking, we got people riding bikes. That Pleasant Street is so busy down there in the summertime. Putting their boats in the water, so we need to, we'll step it up a little bit, and we're gonna try to.
And what was the percentage again that was over the speed limit? Was it 0.02?
0.2% vehicles are over the speed limit.
Just for the record, I did not drive on Pleasant Street since last Friday. So, any questions from any board members?
I got one question before you go, Chief. Well, actually, you're still on the agenda, but do you think that that's because of the word about the safety zone, and perhaps people think that Pleasant Street is being monitored more closely, or do you think it was just the presence of the radar?
It could be both, but I think the presence of the radar trail being there, I'm sure it slows them down. We placed it just right around Hot Street and Pleasant Street, just beyond that, going towards Somerset. So we're gonna leave it there for a little bit, and then we'll move it around town. But we're gonna, like I told you, I'm gonna try to get some patrols up there and start slowing these people down and prevent this screaming around town.
Yeah.
Because it's still going on. People do it now and do the best that we can.
Thank you. Since you're the next agenda item, if we're all done with Pleasant Street, Chief, you can stay right there.
And can we clarify one thing before we move on, though?
Sure.
The vote that we took, and I know you weren't here, it was the former town administrator, but the vote that we took was not just Pleasant Street, it was also Pleasant Street and the other streets that we had delineated at that time on the map. So it wasn't just one street.
Correct.
So I
Yes,
just wanted to
Pleasant
make that
Street,
clear.
Hot Street.
Somerset
Yeah.
Avenue, part of Somerset, I should say, Somerset Avenue.
Thank you.
Chief,
Okay, I'm here tonight looking to fill some vacancies on the police department. We have some 2 slots there that are open. Sergeant Cronin is here. He is my training officer, IT, code officer, so he does quite a bit, and I appreciate that. So a couple months ago, we set a test up. We had about, I believe, 38 to 40 size. 37, okay. We had 37 people come out. It was administrated by Chief Sampson, who does that for us. We had it to Bristol Avenue. Out of the 37 that we had, it was a low number, because we've done this in the past, and we've had over 100 people come take an exam, and this was really low. And I know that area towns, cities, towns are really having trouble getting people now. So we took the test. After the test was done, we received the results on the paper. Myself and Sergeant Cronin went through looking at the tests and scores. There were some high numbers, high scores. There were some in the middle, and there were some low ones. So we went through them all. After we did that, we ended up having interviews. We thought who we thought the best were people to interview, and I think we had 6, I believe, out of that 37. And the 6 that we interviewed were very good. They were really all did a nice job in an interview. Interviews were done by myself, Sergeant Cronin, and Todd Suzuki, who was fantastic in the interview. He was really good. so we asked various questions about, about their police work, if they've ever been in the police work, if they ever, worked in another town, if they were interested in other towns or cities. So things like that we asked for. So after we were done with the interviews, we sat, us three, went over who we thought was really good. Like I said, all six are very good. If I could take all six, I would, but we couldn't do that right now. So we came up with three good ones right now. I'm looking to fill the vacancy with 2 full-timers. And then I'm looking to fill one with a reserve. So I'd like to recommend on the full-time, I'd like to recommend Stephen Hathaway. And I don't know if you guys, I gave a packet, and I don't know if you saw the applications and the names and some letters that we wrote. So if you guys reviewed them, thank you. So Stephen Hathaway was one that we felt that was a full-time member. And then we looked at a female, her name is, say if I'm saying this right, Mimi Washburn? Midway, thank you. So those two right there, that we felt that were good candidates, they did, they were excellent. I'd like to make a recommendation that they get appointed on a constitutional appointment, meaning they have to go through a PAT test. They have to go through a psych test, and they have to go through a physical. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not looking to point them tonight, but they need to pass all this before they move on. So we need that to do that. On the reserve.
So are you asking for, I'm sorry, it's directly related. Are you asking for a conditional appointment?
Conditional appointment, that's what we're looking at, yep. Right now, because we want them to go through these 3 things that they have to do before they even go further. And then those 2 I'm looking to recommend. And then I'd like to recommend a reserve. Her name is Julie Horton. That she would have to do the same thing. She would have to go through a same as those other 2 would have to do. So those 3, I'm looking right now to do this.
I had the opportunity to look at the applications and the resumes, and I think you picked 3 excellent candidates for your department. I want to thank Sergeant Cronin for his participation in the interview and yourself, Chief. But I do think that we've got some good candidates, and I would hope that the board would adopt your recommendation.
Okay, so Stephen Hathaway won't have to attend a full-time police academy. He's just going to be transferring from another department. So he is good to go once he does everything of those 3 things he has to do. The girl is has to attend academy. Just get that. Now, I don't know if you saw it in that packet that in that packet, there's academies that there's the Plymouth Academy and there's the Randolph Academy. If I'm saying that, let me get the chart. Am I saying that? Yeah, so Plymouth would start September 20th, this upcoming year. And then the Randolph would be November 1st. We're gonna get her, we want to get her into the September. So that's what we're looking at for her. Mr. Hathaway's good. The Julie Horton girl is a reserve. She would have to do all those, and then she would come here and do her training. Sergeant Cronin, like I said, the head of training, but he has 2, Tony Steele and Tony Ferrera, that do this, and will be doing the training for her. So there's some things she's gonna have to do. So my recommendation is if I can appoint additional employment right now with these 3, after they complete their call training and what they have to do, that's what I'm looking for.
So I have a general question. The police academy, does the town pay for that? Are we,
The town will have to pay for the girl, the Washburn girl that will be attended, yes.
and if they were to leave after they attended academy, do they have any responsibility to pay for that, or is it, is
If
they?
they leave, I don't think the town has anything like that. right now.
we should consider it, but obviously not at this point, but,
I know what you're saying on that one.
because I've seen they go through the academy, one town pays for it, and then like 6 months, a year later, they go into another town, but that's out of your hands, so.
But the girl, the reserve, the one I like the reserve, she's already got reserve academy, so
That's
she.
good.
But we will save on the first.
Yes,
candidate,
yes.
correct?
Mr. Hathaway, you won't have to.
He's still got some conditions he has to complete, but the academy. is-
Pass, and then he, is good to go.
Does the board have any questions?
And he has worked, he was a reserve in this department at one time.
Yeah.
And he had left to go move on to, you know, to a full-time job, and now he wants to come back.
Dr.
I
Singh,
do
you-
have a question, and maybe this is unrelated, but is did Stephen Hathaway go to Dayton Rehoboth High School? Okay, so it is, okay. The name sounded familiar.
He served on a fire department, he served on a police department.
right, Selectman Hull?
Mr. Chairman, after having reviewed the transcripts, resumes of Stephen Hathaway and Nemu Washburn, I'd like to make a motion to appoint as full-time police officers Stephen J. Hathaway and Nemu A. Washburn,
With the condition that they complete.
They complete.
conditional.
Yes.
Mrs. Brady, did you get that?
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Yep, I will second that.
Any further discussion?
No, I think you did a great job. I think that the fact that it seems to be less interest in applying, unfortunately, for full-time officer positions at the time, that you were still able to find 6 candidates is good. I think that's promising, and I'm happy to support this.
Were you going to say something? I know that.
Actually, if you had any questions for me about, the process or candidates or anything that's gonna be, has happened or is gonna be happening in the future, but,
Sorry, George. So, yeah, just explain how the process you've been doing. I mean, you put a lot of work into this. So.
yeah, I think just to kind of continue on what Dr. Z was saying, it's a real challenge right now in law enforcement to recruit. So the fact that we had 37 and we were able to get a 6 really qualified, I thought, to move forward in the process. Questionable or is disqualified. They're put up. So out of the 6 that we have, I would love to have had every single one move on to the final step. One reason or another.
I'm glad you brought that up to you guys about background checks. I forgot to mention that. Thank you. Yeah, Detective Richards, we do a complete background check. and we make sure that, everything's good. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, you do a Cory check, and then I think you check for restraining orders, domestic violence.
We do all that. He checks with, if they, where they were before, or neighbors, or they got on their application, friends or whatever, we just make sure that, Ryan does a good job of that, so he's good at that and stuff like that.
Well, thank you for all the work that you've done. I'll ask for a vote. Selectman Hull, how do you vote?
Yes.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye on these two candidates. And the reserve officer, Julie Horton, is it Julie or Julia? Okay,
Oh, Julie.
Julia Horton.
Mr. Chairman, if you're entertaining motion.
Yes, I
I
am.
make a motion that we appoint Julia Horton of 1 Standish Avenue, Whitman, Mass. as a reserve police officer. Side note, this doesn't need to be conditional because she completed the reserve academy.
There's other conditions, all right?
It's the same conditions as a full-time officer. They still need to go through the initial hire physical, the PAT, and same exact criteria as far as passing.
Conditional upon those.
Condition,
yeah. Is there a
And I
second?
second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll take a vote. Selectman Hull, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Z, how do you vote?
Aye.
And Campuchico votes aye. So congratulations, you've got two new people coming and a reserve
Yeah, I
officer.
thank the board for this, and I think Sarge wants to just go over a little about reserves, because things could change down the road because of reform and all this stuff, so I think maybe he could fill you in a little bit about this, so you have some, aware of a little bit about it.
Yeah, so we were lucky to actually have a candidate that was looking to be a reserve officer. That role is being phased out by the state. There's a lot of language. So they are going to remain certified if they graduated in the academy prior to the year 2022. So anybody that graduates from reserve academy prior to December 31 of this year, they'll have certification. Based on the letter of their last name is when their certification needs to be reapplied for. So we're very fortunate to have the ability to get a quality reserve officer on prior to the change, because again, that whole role is being phased out and dissolved by the MPTC.
Selectman Hull?
Sergeant Cronin, they're going to do away with the reserve officers, but could the town still hire part-time officers?
No. So it's going to sound convoluted, but it's very clear to me because it's Lutheran. What's going to happen is anybody that has that reserve certification, they'll keep it as long as they do a bridge program, a 200-hour bridge program that the state's going to offer starting next month. Once they do that program, they are now considered full-time certified. So their status, according to the state, will change from an intermittent to a full-time officer. That does not mean that Dayton is going to retain them, in my opinion, anyway. Dayton is going to retain them as a full-time officer.
Okay.
I think language would have to be explored, maybe call it per diems. But there are some implications on our side, budget-wise, and other things that we need to kind of look forward on going down the road, because we're not going to have that part-timer anymore.
I have a question about that too. And it's sort of piggybacking, I'm sorry, piggybacking off of Selectman Hull's question. A lot of our full-time officers at TPD were former reserve officers, either here or in neighboring towns. And so, and you don't have to answer this now, but I'm curious to see how something like that would impact the department and future recruiting of like full-time officers.
Yeah, so it's a great point. We're very fortunate that a large percentage of us down there came from the reserve ranks. And I think as the chief, it's a benefit and advantage to have to develop and to work with. And you know exactly what you're getting. So that advantage, I don't want to say it's going to be lost, but it's going to be a new challenge. It's more towards how civil service hires, just based on testing and pulling them in and doing a full background check, where we have the advantage to know what we're getting. So going forward, I think that it is gonna be tough. It is gonna be tough, but, you know, it's like what Chico said, you have the good cops and the bad cops. As long as you vet out anything that's gonna tarnish you, then it'll be okay.
We do have a good group down there, though.
Absolutely.
They do a good job. It's supposed to do, so.
I
Does that
agree.
answer your question? Obviously?
Yeah,
I found that
And if you, down the road, if you want to have a broader conversation with the chairman or the board about that, I'm all ears.
Sure.
Yeah, we've actually had that discussion, I think, post fiscal, I think that's gonna be the opportunity to sit down and talk about a lot of different things with reform that will definitely have direct effect on us.
I was impressed with some of the education that the candidates had. And it's specifically Stephen Hathaway having attended CCIT, they run a program in Taunton. The probation department is involved in that, and they train how to deal with people with mental illness. This happens to be mental illness, mental health month. So that's very helpful, I think. And in the past, you've had people on your staff that had to deal with it, and they've done a great job. And
I'm
they've
glad
done,
you come aboard.
yeah, so I was happy. It wasn't the Taunton program he went to, but I was impressed that he went to the CCIT and got that certificate. It's a difficult, not difficult, but we used to, when I went through that training, we put headphones on, you hear voices, and you go in the mall and they tell you buy a newspaper. And in the meantime, somebody's telling you something. So it's good that police officers get to see what's going on as far as mental health and know how to handle it better. So that's good you picked that candidate. Any other questions from the board?
No.
Well, congratulations. You can
Thank
get
you, board.
some more people in your department and, yeah, and
I just want to make sure before we move on. Okay.
and you're going to dedicate some of your staff, new staff, to patrolling the streets for speeders.
Yeah, and then after if they complete all this, we can maybe have them come up and, you know, we can do something that I think we can do. That would be good.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night, chief. Thank you.
Moving right along, scheduled appointments. We have Jocelyn Tavares, our Director of Dayton Public Library. And she's going to talk about the reopening or the possible reopening of the library or giving us some information on that.
Hello, Mrs. Tavares. Nice to see you. Even half your face.
She's smiling behind
I know
the
she
mask.
is.
Where do you want me to start? Last we met, you recall our sharing of concerns about the closure of a public with effect on certification, which would impact Dayton residents' ability to use other public libraries and for us to have resource sharing and bring in other library materials for our patrons, as well as impact our state aid, which is just recently starting to go up after the next. And so we talked about that. I guess I kind of put more notice that we're going to help because as long as we're in COVID, we're okay. A lot of us are in, operating curbside and we're okay. Now that we're slowly coming out of curbside operations and the governor is opening up the state, we're watching for signs from the Massachusetts Library Commissioners that we will need to be open. And my first clue for what is happening is my attendance at a meeting that there was mention of the possibility that the commissioners will require Massachusetts libraries to be open with their physical business hours by Labor Day. So I called Mike right away, Mr. Mullen right away to let him know the situation. And I spoke to my trustee. Needs meetings to figure out, I know we have special town meeting funds that are allocated to make some repairs to the building to allow us to open doors. Those will probably not be done by Labor Day, but it's just going to have us lose more space in the building. So we're really at a big crossroads here. I want to appeal to you for guidance. I've been talking to this clause. You want to add anything?
Mr. Muller?
So no, and I want to thank you, Jocelyn, and the trustees, like really, staying on top of this issue. Going back to when I was hired, I think actually the former chairman, Dr. Z, right when I was hired, he told me that the whole issue, getting the accessibility and the special town meeting funds actually utilized and that project are complete. That was going to be one of my first priorities, and we are working on that. But as it relates to the notice, or the direction where we think the Mass Water Library commissions are going to go, we have a little bit of time, and in my opinion, we have a few options. Number one, and it's an option that I was hoping to have explored by now, but I actually expect to actually put something together to reach out to the Executive Office of Administration and Finance tomorrow, is a lot of the challenges that we have faced at the library have also been brought on by COVID and the pandemic. So I want to explore with NNF, whether through our CARES Act allotment, we have any ability to, to help address our funding for spacing issue that we have there now at the library, and how it could help us meet the Labor Day deadline. And that could, and I want to be realistic about that because that also depends on two very important contingencies. Number one is obviously the state of Green with our approach. But number two, the practicality of actually getting the CARES Act funds really to supplement, and deal with the issues that we have at the library now would allow, basically, in my view, the ability for the town to vacate the building and to deal with the construction that we're going to be performing there for the ramp, which is envisioned to come behind the back of the library into the middle, and then the accessible restroom, which is like I was envisioned is going to take up Jocelyn's office as it stands now. And that also, based on accessibility, that also means that the children's room in the basement won't be able to be utilized based on public safety and accessibility issues as well. So it gives us the ability for that construction to happen and the potential for like a redesign of just the first floor alone to be considered. in the funding of short-term, actually lease space. But I also want to be practical in as much that there could be a build-up for that lease space. And the timing might actually just not work in that aspect as well. Yes.
Just wait, Dr. Z. Let
The
Mr. Mullin
second-
complete.
The second, actually, I think, like immediate thing, that we're planning on doing, actually through the help of Mr. Aguirre. While we're working on the, engineering and the scope of the bid, for the construction of the ramp and the accessible restroom. We also, the building needs committee, has called a meeting, Tuesday, I believe in the afternoon, where this issue is gonna be front and center. So the building needs committee will be considering this. And really begin to compile an inventory of the building issues. As it relates to coming up with a plan going forward. So that could be helpful in looking at all of our options here. And exploring, in the short, in the long term, how we can really plan out, in dealing with this issue, to meet our accreditation. Needs and future needs for the library as well. And this would be actually done in conjunction, with Mr. Bowers, in the library trustees. The other option we have as well, and I was really, happy to hear, Dr. Mr. Woods' comments last week during the FinCom meeting, is the ability to, actually explore additional CPC funds for the building to help deal with these issues as well. So the long story short, we knew this conversation was going to come. We have really, a very tight timeline, but a practical enough timeline, I think, to come up with a plan. Though that plan is daunting, and though the answers or the solutions, in many cases, they may not be the best solution, but we need to consider everything at this point.
So what is the status of the renovations?
The building commissioner and I are working on getting a scope up for the engineering, so the ramp. So we can engage an engineer to construct the ramp. And then at the same time, that engineer will be able to look at the interior design of the first floor to see how we might be able to reconfigure the first floor to basically bring the children's library up. And have some some more than one ideal, some actually more shared services arrangement between the adult and the children's library just on the first floor alone.
So if those renovations happen, we think that there'll be, I know it's not enough space, but we'd be able to open up and be able to take care of the children as well as adults, use of the library. I know we're losing space.
We would have to do the best. If that was the only option, we would have to do the best we could. It wouldn't allow for much growth. But we would, yeah, somehow with the MBLC has those consultants that can help us with some kind of layout options that would help us position things the best way we can. It would be a drastic change from what.
And post-COVID, you could actually use this building for
Right.
children programs.
Right.
Because I know you've run a lot of children programs and you're not able to do it now. You probably won't be able to do it once the renovations happen, but you can utilize this building here. Dr. Z, I know you had a question.
Sir, my question is mostly what I've heard when you were discussing town administrator, is a lot of your discussion was around the funding. We already have the funds. My concern is that we're not, I don't want to say this, I don't mean it in the way I'm saying it, but like nothing tangible is being done. We're still in the phase of like talking about it. And so that's my concern. My concern is the timing, not so much the funding. That's great that we might get CPC funds. That's great that the municipal building study committee is reconvening. And that's great that we may be able to use CARES Act funds, but the timing is the problem, not the funding. So my concern is how do we get the ball rolling quicker than what's going on right now?
I wholeheartedly agree. The scope, to get everything up to bid, actually is being worked on as we speak by the building commissioner and I. He actually sent me a draft to Wednesday, Monday. I'm hoping to get back to him on that tomorrow so we can get that out and really get this rolling.
And I didn't mean that direct. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that.
Oh, yeah, no, I hear you completely.
I guess my
Yeah.
concern is that if we go back to when the funding was actually approved
In
to
November.
now, it's been almost a year.
Right.
No, it's not,
No,
has not been a
it's
year.
been
but
6 months.
almost- Yeah,
Yeah, 6 months.
so it's been half a year. That's concerning to me. And I'm happy to help anyway, and I know you are very involved with the Board of Trustees, but anything that this board can do, I think we're all in agreement, we're happy to help, so.
Will the ADA coordinator be involved in this at all, and the ramp and making sure the bathrooms are?
Yes, we need to get our actually the engineer in first, and then once we do, yes.
Thank you. Selectman Hull?
When I first heard about this issue was March. And after speaking with the fire chief, I was deeply concerned. And what I'm hearing tonight has me even more concerned. We have a problem and we have a deadline. I'm wondering if we should not make this a priority and that a task force be established to develop a timeline and an implementation plan to meet that September deadline. And that a committee be put together that can dedicate their time to make this happen. I've heard many options, but what also concerns me is that there is a lot of rumor out there. And one of the things that a task force would do, they would report back to us, public meetings, so everyone would be transparency. Everyone would know where we're at and where we're going.
Alert, audio now unmuted.
And I will support that as long as the building commissioner is involved and on that task
He would
force
be on
along
that,
with
I'm
the
sure.
the ADA coordinator.
This is Jonathan. Am I allowed to chime in for a minute or I need to wait?
I have a policy that no public input until we have public input, so
Okay.
your name was mentioned, or, well, your title was mentioned, so I'm going to allow you to speak, Mr. Gale.
The only thing I was going to say is that I think as much as everyone is talking about what they want to do with the ramp, restrooms, et cetera, right now, what I think everyone needs to think about as well, because this is a public building, there are specific formulas that are required by the Commonwealth when you are renovating a public building. And those formulas, in terms of basically, there are three aspects to it. One is the value of the building versus the land. The second is the overall value of the property. The third is the type and age, well, it's more than three really, the type and age of the building. And the fourth is the actual cost of the renovation. And if the renovation that's being done are over certain percentages of the value that I just mentioned for that building, then the renovations that might be proposed might not be appropriate for that building and might not allow the state to approve it for ADA. And I'm saying that because I think it's important for the ADA consideration to be looked at early on when you're looking at the potential costs as part of the study factor, because there are, as I said, all those things have to be factored in to whether or not those renovations, while they seem appropriate, may not be appropriate.
That's why I've asked for your involvement in it. I think we need the engineering work to be done so we know exactly what the plan is, and then the ADA coordinator should get involved in it to determine whether or not we should go forward. Selectman Hull.
would it be unreasonable to give permission for Mr. Mullen to form a task force and report back to us at the next meeting as to the formation of that committee?
Mr. Mullin?
Yeah, on that note, the last Tuesday, we brought together an internal, group of department heads that include myself, Mr. Barres, the health agent, the building commissioner, and the fire chief. I think that was it, right?
Yes. Did you say the time?
I guess in the town accountant for the financial stuff. What we agreed at that time was immediately actually calling a meeting of the building needs committee, really to guide this process along. Those meetings are posted, those meetings are public. So like we all and I can report actually back on those actual meetings, but the composition of that committee does include like actually department heads and at least one resident. And then we would engage with the library director, with the trustees as well, and like report back. So actually, if we could use the building needs committee actually as the vehicle that you're envisioning, Mr. Hull, and I can report back. Like from actually their meetings, and I'll make sure that the building needs committee actually establishes a timeline and a punch list in terms of a plan to get there. At our meeting on Tuesday.
Selectman Hull?
Mr. Chico, I definitely would like to see Mr. Gales be a part of this discussion. Could we put this on as a regular agenda item so we can get
Yeah, so
updates?
you're
on a
meeting
regular-
next week with the building committee. So on May 26th, if you could report back to us and give us an update.
Absolutely.
Because the beauty of the update is that it also goes out to the public and they're hearing one voice.
And I did just want to add that, though the building needs, it's actually called the Municipal Building Study Committee, because they study more than the library.
Yep.
However, I do agree this should be a priority, because we're up against a deadline. And we certainly all, I think, agree that we can't have the library be decertified or closed or any of that. However, the Municipal Building Study Committee was just formed. I had to serve on it before we hired Town Administrator Mullen, and we were only able to have one meeting, and I think the last meeting was in February. So I think if your idea is to use that as the vehicle, I guess my question is, are you okay with that as long as they report regularly and they provide that information that you asked for?
I am,
Schedule and
see,
all that?
I see a task force as having one, a representative go to their meetings, but they can have their own meetings. And then they bring it back to the task force, it includes everyone. But the thing is, the last time they met was February. It's May. We gotta keep this moving.
But this issue just came up, it's my understanding. The deadline of Labor Day,
Here's
just
my attention.
very recently.
May I just make a comment?
Sure.
I appreciate the ADA guidelines for a building that size and that age. That's still not going to help the operations of the public building, the function of it. If I'm not allowed to open that building for what its use is in that space. So if the engineering report comes back and somebody else says that, if things come down, if it comes down to it and it's not feasible to use that space, then we still have a big problem. Not to point that out and be mindful of that.
Thank you. Mr. Mullin?
So yes, and I can I completely agree with what the library director is saying. Actually, in my view, I think we should approach actually two issues on a parallel track. One, we have $105,000 that was appropriated at town meeting, that we have to, for lack of a better word, actually really move on and make sure we deal with that and complete that project. However, based on the operational and space needs at the library, looking together with the municipal building study committee, so they got that right. But, we need to evaluate how the library may fit, how the library may fit, to actually not fit in its existing building. With or without the accessibility improvements that we're making to the building anyways, because the building at the end of the day is a town building. We want to actually keep up with the building and maintain it. So there are really two separate issues here to deal with, that I think we need to be ready to deal with both on a very parallel, maybe intertwined track, but also maybe separate track. I think all need to be very wide-eyed about the realities of both and have regular updates as to where we are in assessing how those two parallel tracks are either intersecting or they're not going to be converging at all, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I just want to go on, and I've said this in the past, and I'll go on record again. I think Dayton deserves a new library. We're putting a Band-Aid on a bad situation. I get it, that's a town building and it will be used in the future, so we need to make these changes now, but it doesn't fit the needs for the townspeople. And we have to look at that. I know there's a plan to add on to the building, which I'm not in favor of. I think Dayton deserves a new library. And we're on that list. I don't know what number we're on that list, but I know if it comes before the town, it's probably not going to pass.
We still need to decide on if that's a viable plan.
Yeah, no, I don't think it is a viable plan. I think we ought to be looking towards the future and talk about building a new building. We just, a couple of years ago, we just purchased the land next door to Town Hall, and that would be the ideal spot as far as I'm concerned. And I actually think it would be cheaper than what's, when we talk about the renovation, it's $8 million presently. The state's going to give us $4 million. It's going to cost the taxpayers $4 million. I think we can build a new library cheaper than the $8 million, and it's the benefit of all the residents in town. Mr. Hull, I saw your hand up.
Well, yes, Mr. Pacheco, I totally agree. The long-term goal is a new library. However, September is around the corner. And one of the things that
Are you saying we can't build a new library by then?
I was hoping, as part of the task force, that they would anticipate the problems they would have. And one of the problems we all know is, while they're doing construction, what would be a good alternative site? And I think that should come from the task force, not from the Board of Selectmen at this time.
Can I ask you a question, or through the chair? When you say that, do you mean they give us a recommendation, and because it may or may not have a price tag we decide, or do you want the municipal building study committee to actually?
Oh, no, they're gonna make recommendations. Okay. Oh, yes. I mean, I believe that's how it works, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, not trying to micromanage. I'm just saying, task
No, I
force,
love this.
task force got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I also want to mention Mr. O'Connor is on the Zoom as well. Actually, earlier this afternoon, Mr. Bowers and I had a Zoom conversation with Mr. O'Connor. So the trustees will look into this conversation as well.
Mr. O'Connor, do you want to make any comments?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to express my appreciation for all the support I'm hearing for the short-term needs of the library and the long-term needs of the library among the selectmen. And you know, you can count on my support as the chair of the trustees and the trustees to be engaged with the work of the task force and help to move this forward. My schedule continues to be very tight, but I'll make time when we can. I wish I could be there in person. It was kind of hard to hear, but what I heard was very positive, and I feel very assured by that conversation that I've heard this evening. And just know that you have my full support. I sort of take that for granted, but it's good to state it here. That we'll get this done. We've got wonderful library director, as you all know, and we also have a great staff at the library who are doing their best in very difficult times. And our goal is to make things better for them and for the patrons and the residents of the town. So thank you. I won't take any more of your time. I could keep talking for a long time about this, but I have a 7:15 meeting I need to get ready for. So, but thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you. We also have our newest library trustee here. I don't know if you want to make a comment, Mr. Rujo.
No, I talked to Jocelyn. I have some thoughts for later on, but we have a problem right now.
Yeah, yes, thank you.
In discussion of people, the stakeholders, one group I didn't hear, the capital outlay committee.
Mr.
I'm
Rennie
sure
is on the committee.
Are they
I
on
believe he's
that?
on finance and capital outlay, is that correct?
Yes, he's on the three, yeah, the municipal building needs, finance.
And capital outlay.
Yeah, so it's all intertwining.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
May I ask one last question?
One
And
last question,
It's
yes.
about ADA, I promise. It's about the ADA coordinator. Is the ADA coordinator, I can't remember, are they all, I thought they were also on the municipal building study committee? And if not, would that be possible to have them? So they're involved in the process from start to finish, and I don't know if my colleagues.
I totally support
Okay.
I agree. I don't believe he's on it, our ADA coordinator, but he should be on it, quite frankly.
There was a recommendation for the ADA coordinator to be on that committee, but I don't believe that committee had met and voted on it as of yet.
Would it actually be, would it be us voting, put him on? I would think.
Yeah, like the composition would come from.
I think there was also a question as to whether the position would be a voting member or not, based on the number of people who were on there.
Maybe we should do this.
So I think he should be invited to the meeting
Yes,
next
and then-
Thursday, and then this be put on the agenda for May 26th. So we can decide what, and they can decide whether he's a voting member or a liaison person or whatever, but I think it's important. I think Dr. Z brought up a very good point that he should be on that committee.
Sometimes I hit the nail on the head.
A lot of times you do. Is there anything else that we want to ask the director of the library?
I just want to thank you, first and foremost, I'll be very brief. I know this, and I say this to you every time I see you, I feel like it's a Groundhog Day with us too. But I really appreciate your patience, I know this is not easy for you. And thank you for holding us accountable on this. And whatever you need, I will be there, so I appreciate the open door communication very much.
And I assume that Ms. Tavares will be at that meeting Tuesday or?
Yeah, yes, I'll send you the invite.
Yeah, I don't know what your schedule was.
I believe it's here, yeah, but I'll send you the details.
Thank you. Thank you again for updating us on the
I'm
situation.
sorry.
No.
No,
thank you.
We need to hear this, unfortunately, and
Thank you.
we'll do whatever we can to help.
And Mr. Chairman, the town administrator will report every meeting.
He's going to report at the next meeting. We'll decide,
Okay.
if they're not going to meet for a month, I think they ought to meet often, as I think you had mentioned, somebody had mentioned. But at least we'll come to the next meeting and we'll decide how often, when the next meeting is going to be, and then we'll decide when we should get another report. But I do agree that it's very important that, given that we have a deadline, that we get regular updates on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next agenda item is discretionary spending request. There's a request from the Parks and Recreation Committee to have the playground fence repairs in the amount of $7,500. And we have the chairperson of the Parks and Recreation, Kevin Smith here.
Hello.
First of all, congratulations on your election, and you seem to be doing a lot of good stuff, quite frankly. Sure.
A little bit easier easier to understand.
Can you make sure this is ready?
Yes, I brought an extra copy. I need it for my reference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny you say that. That's So the pictures I have are actually from School Lane. I didn't I didn't print out the pictures from Lane Field, but Lane Field is actually in worse condition than School Lane. There's the boundary fence that kind of comes along the playground area and cuts back to the corner of the ball field. It's just like absolutely destroyed. So that's actually a lot worse to spare than this is. But this was just a little quick depiction of what the overall condition of the fences are at those two areas. It looks like I had a conversation with Mr. Perry from the highway department. There is a portion of those fences that were replaced about 4 years ago, but we're looking to replace the remaining sections, which are pretty bad. And also in that, it doesn't apply to Lane Field, but at School Lane, we're also going to adjust the entry gate so that the 36-inch wide, which will allow the 18 counts once we start to work on pathways and things, and that's what kind of plan for the future with those items. I attached the quote that I received from Southeast Fence and Supply, and I also have shared this information with Administrator Mullen, so he's aware of this as well. I did receive one other quote from Mid-City Steel, but they were a little bit unresponsive in one half of the project. They had sent me some pricing for Lane Field, but not for School Lane. There was a lot of back and forth about what items were back ordered and so on and so forth. This gentleman, John from Southeast Fence, was like extremely helpful with answering questions I had and getting back to me quickly with the pricing. The pricing that he gave me ended up the one project that I had to compare it to was $100 higher. But then I did a little research on the materials, and his materials, especially the piping, was of a better quality and thicker wall than what Mid-City was. It seems to me that Mid-City was almost like reselling Home Depot quality product, where this gentleman from Southeast Fence had a much superior product to offer. We did put it out with two options, and we're actually, in our meeting Saturday, we voted we're going to use the 9-gauge extruded fence, which is a little bit lighter than the original, the 8-gauge that you put up top. But it's consistent with the other material that we already have in place. And they're not high traffic areas where we don't have active, athletic events going on there or anything like that, where it damages the system and it saves us a little bit of money. So the total cost of the materials for School Lane was $3,325.09, and then Lane Field was $3,929. So altogether, it was $7,254. I was requesting that the amount be not to exceed $7,500 because we would like to, essentially measure twice and cut a check once, and just make sure that have exactly what we need. Me and Mr. Perry will revisit this one more time before we make the purchase, just in case there's something that we're missing. And then also, from a labor perspective, Mr. Perry has agreed to help the Parks and Rec Commission by removing the old fencing and disposing it, and also will be cleaning up the brush in those areas that have kind of overgrown into the existing fencing. And then the highway department will also be installing a new fence. We don't have a date at this time, but we wanted to get the purchase done because the cost of pretty much any type of material, especially metals, seems to be climbing. So try to be a little proactive and get it now before that, gets in charge.
I think this is a great start. That's it. I am in favor of putting a fence around the playground next door. A resident contacted me. She has an autistic child, and she was concerned about the child being running away from her. It's close to her. So in the future, something for the Parks and Recreation to consider is a possibility of a fence over there. I think this is great. And that's my colleagues on the board. If they have any questions.
Actually, Mr. Smith, what your committee has accomplished under your leadership since April 10th is very impressive. actions speak louder than words. What I have to say thus far, I'd like to tell the rest of the board. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $7,500 request to playground fence repairs for the Park and Recreation Committee.
Is there a second?
I'm gonna second that.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a compliment and a question. To Selectman Hull's point, I remember I first met you on Facebook, virtually. And you had created a Facebook group, and I remember, I forget how the conversation happened, but you asked me, you told me what was going on and your concerns, and I said, well, don't complain, contribute. And that's exactly what you did, so I really respect that. And I really admire that, and anything you need from me on my end, I'm happy to help.
Well, thank you for pushing me, because part of the reason I'm here, I had a little bit of a, I'll show you moment.
But my one question is, I guess I have two, but they're both related to the budget, but to the next budget. That's the thing. Off the top of your head, I assume that you have enough money in the FY21 budget to purchase this?
Our budget was $23,100. Year to date, we have spent $30.15.
So my, I guess, suggestion to you would be anything else that you think needs to be done before we close out the year. We have a couple meetings left before July 1st, 2021. So I'm happy to entertain that. The chairman's happy to put those things on the agenda.
And I did have that conversation with the finance committee a little bit, and I don't want to be like, I don't want to try to be, go crazy and spend all of it in 8 weeks, because I think that's unreasonable, and I want to do common sense projects that make sense. I mean, there are a couple other things that we've noticed that we might want to address, so I will definitely do that. And actually, one other thing as it pertains to this that we didn't visit, that myself and Mr. Curry will have to have a conversation with this, probably be some concrete that goes into this project that we may or may not want to purchase. That's going to be kind of dependent on installation date too, because obviously we don't want bags of concrete sitting around that would get hard in the meantime. But yeah, this is strictly just the fencing material, and I don't think it's going to be a large amount of concrete, cost-wise anyway. But that would probably be an additional cost as it pertains to this project.
I think, I just wanted to add the improvements, things like this. I don't mean frivolous spending, but I think things like this that improve safety and things like that in our parks are really important. And I'm happy to entertain that. And I just wanted to ask, were you able, after you were elected on April 10th, were you able to revisit the Parks and Rec budget? Because I never got one, so I level funded it, and I'm not sure how that all shook out for next year.
Yes, so we in the initial stages of the FinCom meetings, they were going to make the recommendation to zero fund it, because at that point, prior to me taking the position, no budget had been submitted, but they were gracious enough to let us revisit it. I sat down with Administrator Mullen. We got all the records from the last 5 years from the town accountant and saw what our typical spending was, and then it worked out pretty well. And we actually, the last year's budget request was $23,100, and we actually were able to cut it down. Next year's budget's going to be $20,700, so we saved the town a little bit of money. And I'm going to try to do a little more with a little less.
Has Mr. Gale gone out on a tour of all of that?
Yes, we had him ride some slides this weekend. Yes, he attended, not in an official capacity, but as a member of the public on Saturday with us and visited the parks.
Has he given you a list of recommendations?
He has not, because we haven't made it an official agenda item as of right now. We're trying to and again, because we're running out of time with the fiscal year and we have some money to work with, we're trying to just address general maintenance needs. But it's, and ADA is always in the back of my mind anyway. So like one of the things is like when we put in these gates, we're going to have the kick plates on the gates so that those gates are compliant and things like that. But like I said, in an unofficial capacity, he did visit with us and he did point out a couple things to us. But referencing, and I tend to, the last two meetings that we've had, I've always cited the KMA report in our agenda just so that it's on our radar. And the commission is aware that that's something that we need to tackle. But at some point, once we kind of get through these maintenance issues, then we'll kind of have a more focused conversation on those needs. Some of the things will be halfway through. We have a lot of nice picnic tables that were installed in the town with handicap seating, but without a handicap access to it. So things like that, which is something that I would probably say might, if time allows, might come up before the end of this year. It's one of the things that's on my radar.
I know the Indian coordinator herself and Representative and something like that. But the public know that Vernon Smith is also a member of the commission. So I believe he's very conscious of the needs of people with disabilities. So, any further discussion? If not, I'll take a vote. Aye. I can say you take over the results. Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate it.
I also want to bring up this time, since we're talking about discretionary spending, having this stuff come back to us. I'm interested in the department and very reasonable about their request. I'm asking, how does the board feel about having small speak up also? What feel about in the future any discretionary spending that the town administrator review it and approve what he thinks is appropriate, rather than come back to us, at least for the end of this fiscal year. And we can review it again in July to see how it's done. Any comments about that?
I fully support it. When we discussed this as a meeting, former selectman Dwarf was on the board. I think we're in a different time. I think there was a lot of anxiety and stress about, are we going to get those chapter resources from the state that we really rely on? All that has panned out. The department had, not just in their spending, in their request, even for next fiscal year, has been very, very conciliatory, very thoughtful and understanding of our financial situation and the uncertainty around it. I support that, the town administrator being able to approve it. My only request is that that information please make its way to the selectmen.
Yes.
Those things that are being approved and or denied, just so we can take a look at it. And I'm okay with the town administrator, as I've done in other towns, really taking the reins on it, provided they are comfortable.
Mr. Chico, with comments. Process.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize the town administrator to review and approve or deny all future discretionary spending requests for fiscal year 2021, and that documentation be sent to the selectmen regularly.
Second. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I am, and yes, I appreciate the confidence in the board, but I mean, just like, I really appreciate the fiscal diligence of the prior town administrator as well. This year, this year and at this point in the fiscal year, one of the things we're very mindful of is how we're closing out FY21. When we want to close out the budget, with in a way that really guarantees as much free cash as possible. I am laser focused on that, but I also understand, that departments, they have and they plan needs as well. And trying to really continue that type of restraint while realizing the needs is something, that is really going to be front and center for me over the next 7 weeks. And then obviously reporting all those with the board as well. So yes, that's fine.
For the start of the next fiscal year?
Yes,
How do you wanna do that?
it's not part of the motion, but I had asked that in July that the board review this to see whether we want to continue having a town administrator. Not that I'm questioning you, Mr. Mullin, but just, you have a role in this also, so.
Oh, yeah, no, that's perfect.
Uh, Selectman Hull, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Public input, have we got any public input from either emails or phone calls?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mrs. Goulart, yes, speak, please.
I've got a couple of issues. I'll just do quickly the MMA meeting today. Senator Rebecca Rausch and Representative Carolyn Dykema were present. And we discussed the MMA involvement with some of the legislation that we have refiled, and I won't go into that in detail because you've heard it before. But what I do want to bring to your attention, and I'm going to email this to the Selectmen's office, there is legislation proposed. It's an act that would establish the municipal reforestation program, a powerful strategy for climate change mitigation and environmental justice. This legislation has many, many benefits. So I am going to forward it to the Selectmen's office, the Trails Committee, Land Use Committee, Conservation Committee, Agricultural Commission, on and on. I think once you have a chance to see this, this is legislation that they should probably follow. And it provides a lot of information. Also, what the individual homeowner can do to help promote reforestation, and obviously not reforestation in your backyard, but even planting one tree and the benefits to the environment of doing that. So I'm going to send that off to you. The legislation that's been discussed has a lot to do with nutrition under the COVID Act and how they were organized. I guess you call them pockets of places in the Commonwealth where people have not been able to get food, or if they've got food, it's not proper nutrition. And so these are all things that are being looked at with the start of the new legislative year. So that was MMA. I wanted to give you an update on Brook Street Solar. So this afternoon I met with Mr. Mullen and Mr. Aguirre, and I had a conversation with Mr. Ferry today.
You're breaking up, Mrs. Goulart,
All right, let me, if I can get closer to this.
and now you're frozen.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No,
No, you're
no.
breaking up.
Um,
No,
I
You know
can hear
what?
you perfectly. So it's, it looks like it's the meeting room.
Yep.
and the issues.
okay. This Brook Street thing is important, so what I will do is I will come down to the meeting and wait for your other public input, because this is something you need to know about.
I think she said she's gonna come back at the second.
second public, okay, okay,
Yes, yes.
okay.
I think I heard somebody say they can hear us.
Mr. Mello was saying that, I think.
So I think it would be our Wi-Fi connection.
Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to speak, public input? No other public input? Thank you. Announcements, Dr. Z, can you read the announcements?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first announcement I would like to make while we check our internet connection is about the leash law. I just want to remind Daytonians that when you are not on your own property with your dog, it is a bylaw that you must leash your dog. It's the law. It was approved at a town meeting by other Dayton residents. And so please, 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 we have had dog incidents in the past. We would like to avoid dog incidents in the future. So please leash your animal according to the bylaw. You're welcome, ACO Ferry. Please, it makes everyone's life easier administratively. It will make the animal control officer's job easier, and it will make you and your pets safer when you are outside with them. So thank you for your cooperation. And please also license them. That is also another announcement we should make. Town of Dayton public buildings are now open to the public. You do not need to make an appointment. Please come, please wear your mask. But we are open and we are happy to see everyone again. A vaccination center has opened at Anawan Pharmacy at Route 44 and 118. Appointments can be made by visiting anawanpharmacy.com and clicking on the COVID-19 button on their homepage. And I want to thank former Selectman Goulart for that information. The Friends of the Dayton Public Library and the Dayton Lions Club are doing a joint fundraiser called Small Town Big Heart. Pick up your heart signs and show your support and love for Dayton. Suggested donation for the signs are $5. You can purchase the signs at the Dayton Public Library via curbside pickup during library hours or at Arujo Farms on William Street, cash or check only. The Town of Dayton Food Bank distribution will be held next on May 15th, 2021, located at the Town Hall, 979 Somerset Avenue, lower level as a drive-through. And we want to, as always, thank the Dayton Lions Club for that. Rabies Vaccination Day will be held on Saturday, May 15th from 3 to 4 p.m. at the Dayton Animal Shelter, which is, for those who are unaware, 821 Tremont Street, right next to the transfer station. The Dayton Historical Society, do you have to do your non-disclosure? Is hosting a plant sale on Saturday, May 22nd, 2021 from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Winslow Davis Museum at 1217 William Street. Please stop by to get your plants for your gardens. There will be a historical house marker ceremony on the same day at 11 a.m. That's very nice. The Board of Health has rescheduled its annual bulky curbside item pickup to June 7th, 2021 through June 11th, 2021. Items must be sent out no later than 7 a.m. Tags may be purchased at the Board of Health office, 111 Somerset Avenue, lower level. The annual town meeting will be held on Monday, June 7th, 2021. Can we put a time on that next meeting? Thank you. The town clerk's office would like to remind residents again to please license your dogs. Massachusetts general law requires dog licenses for dogs 6 months of age or older. Please contact the clerk's office at 508-669-5411, option 2 with any questions. The following boards and committees have vacancies: the Bylaw Review Committee, the Cemetery Commission, the Conservation Commission, the Dayton Trails Committee, the Finance Committee, the Human Rights Committee, the Land Use Committee, Superintendent of Pest Control, which is not a committee, it is an appointed position, the TIF Review Board, the Cable Television Committee, the Community Preservation Committee, the Development and Industrial Committee, the DR School District Facilities Committee, the Historical Commission, the Industrial and Development Financing Authority, the Municipal Building Study Committee, the Taxation Aid Committee, and the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mr. Chairman, would it be possible if our office could coordinate with some of these committees and get like maybe a short blurb on what they do? Because I think sometimes the reason that people don't apply is just simply they don't know like what the Land Use Committee really does. And I think that might go a little way. If we could get them to respond and just a little mission statement or something might help. Thank you.
I think Ms. Brady has got that information. She'll get that information for us.
You're the best.
Thank you for reading the announcements. Town Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As Dr. Z just mentioned, we are planning for the town meeting in the special town meeting on the 7th of June. Actually working with the school the end of last week, the fire chief and I were up actually meeting with the facilities folks at the school. We also had an internal meeting the beginning of last week with all internal town stakeholders, and the fire chief and I tomorrow afternoon at the meeting with the town clerk, and the former town clerk, I like actually back at the school to just plan for like logistical type of issues for the evening of town meeting. Like as of right now, we know the evening on June 7th is also a volleyball game in the gym that we just want to make sure we're planning for and anticipating getting the entrance and logistical issues. So I think our meeting with the town clerk tomorrow will be able to identify and plan those forward. So I do expect a full update like on all the logistics and any expectations that residents should be able to expect at the May 26th meeting. So that is the coming planning update. The capital outlay committee, like we reconvened the end of last month with plans to meet again on the 24th of June. I had a really good meeting, talked about a lot of initial goals, really to come up with a really good funding structure for the capital stabilization account, where we could have a dedicated recurring number that we fund the account to be able to fund like both short-term and long-term capital needs projects. So and also at the same time, the municipal building study committee, a lot of the capital outlay committee's work is going to intersect with that committee based on the needs of our buildings. And so the work of one is going to inform the other, which is really exciting in terms of planning and really costing out how we go forward. In terms of an update on the FY20 outside audit and the FY19 and 20 management letters, the town accountant and I did have an exit interview with our outside auditor yesterday afternoon, and at the meeting on the 20, also on the 26th, if it's okay, the accountant and I will have a very short presentation just really to bring the board up to speed on our financial position through the end of FY20, along with the management letter issues that we're already working on addressing. So I just wanted to bring you up to speed on that. Then a few weeks ago, there was a conversation with the town clerk about the tax collector in the town clerk's boxes, actually right outside town hall. And I really want to thank the building commissioner for his efforts on it. He actually went to Granger, he picked them up, and I believe now we have them in the town's possession. And there's actually been coordinating work with Mr. Ferry. And one of the suggestions that Mr. Ferry has, which has been brought into by all the applicable department heads, is actually moving both drop boxes to under the overhang in the rear of town hall. That way, both boxes will be able to be seen from the security cameras. They'll be protected from the weather. Again, that area is already an accessible area, so we wouldn't have to deal with any curb cuts or any other issues. So I just wanted to bring everyone up to speed on that and let the public know that really beginning, probably I'd say by the end of the month, those boxes will be relocated to the rear of town hall. And just when that happens, we'll be sure to get the word out on social media through Channel 9 and all the regular outlets so people know what to expect.
We'll add that to the announcements that you can read.
Absolutely.
Getting longer.
Yeah. Selectman Hull?
Mr. Mullen, would it be wise to put up a sign in the upper parking lot telling people that the boxes are located where they're now located?
Yes, and I neglected to say that. that's already part of the plan as well, so. Yes,
That's a good
absolutely.
question.
Thank you, Mr. Hall.
So it probably should be located near where the drop box is now,
Yeah.
because that's what people are gonna go to. I know I've gone to it, so.
Yep.
Thank you very much for your report.
Thank you.
Old business, review, discuss, and act on the approval of the annual and special town meeting warrants, including budget and special article requests. I'm going to read the articles for the special town meeting. Is that it? What time is that? I don't see the time,
It's usually 6 PM and the annual is at 7, correct?
6 or 6:30, but
Yeah,
6 or 6.
6:30?
And the special town meeting.
But I thought they needed time to like recheck, you know how everyone has to check back in? So I thought we normally did 6.
We do,
Okay,
we do,
6 PM. Okay,
we normally do.
So this will be at 6 p.m.
if that's what the board wishes.
Do we need to vote on the time? Or can we just? I'll ask for a motion to vote on the time that the special town meeting on June 7th should occur. Is there a motion and a time?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we set the time for the special town meeting to be 6 PM on June 7th, 2021, and the annual town meeting to be 7 PM on June 7th, 2021.
I second.
Any discussion? If not, how do you vote? Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico also vote. Town warrants for June. Greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the town of Dayton qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet at Dayton Rehoboth Regional High School on Monday, the 7th of June. Oh, does have a time. 7th of June, 2021. We're going to change the time to 6. Then and there to act on the following articles. Article 1, to hear reports of the town officials and act thereof. Article 2, to see if the town will vote to transfer funds from free cash in the treasury, a sum of $1,705.55 to pay prior year bills as follows, or take any action relative thereto. Zoning Board of Appeals, number 171, line number 5119, salary member stipend to fund retroactive pay in fiscal year 20 for one member from June 9th through June 30th, 2020, in the amount of $71.04. Board of Selectmen, data processing, number 155, line item 5303, network support fees in the amount of $1,437.50 for service rendered in fiscal year 2020. Article 3, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds the sum of $260,000 to fund an adjustment to the final assessment payment for the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District for fiscal year 2021, and to be placed in expense account number 5690, or take any action there or relative thereto. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to transfer the sum of $60,653.17 from free cash to the Conservation Fund established by Chapter 82 of the Special Acts of 2004. Said sum was collected from rollback taxes collected during the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2020, and credited to the general fund. Chapter 82 of the Special Acts of 2004 specifically requires that any rollback taxes collected during the fiscal year shall be deposited in a special conservation commission fund to be used for the acquisition of and/or interest in land of conservation purposes, or take any action relative thereto. In Article 5, to act upon any other business that lawfully may be introduced at said meeting. And you are directed to serve this warrant by posting attested copies thereof of each of the post offices at the town hall and at the main fire station, all in said Dayton, 14 days at least before the time of holding said meeting. Hereto fail not and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting as aforesaid. Given on the oath, hence this May 12, 2021, in the year of our Lord 2021. And it will be signed, if approved, as the warrants by the chairman, the clerk, Mr. Hull, and Dr. Z. And it'll be also signed by the town clerk and posted as directed to the constable. Does anybody, I would entertain a motion to approve these warrants to be placed as special warrants for June 7th at for 6 p.m. Is there a motion?
Before I make that motion, can I just ask a procedural question?
Sure.
Typically, we do approve it. Are we also making our recommendations as we always do tonight?
I was going to ask, after we approve these warrants, what is our position as the Board of Selectmen as to whether or not we're going to make these recommendations? Nope, I'm asking for a motion, so.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the special town meeting warrant as prepared this evening, except for under greetings, we changed the time to 6 p.m. on the 7th of June, 2021.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll ask for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Now I would like the board's recommendation on these article warrants, these warrant articles. Is there a recommendation from the Board of Selectmen?
Mr. Chairman, before I make a motion on the recommendations, I support Articles 1 through 5 in their entirety. So I'm happy to make those motions for those recommendations if the board is amenable.
Yes, and we can discuss if
I
anybody has any
second it.
questions. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Selectman Zerogafis,
Aye.
and Campuchico is an aye. So the Board of Selectmen is recommending those warrant articles. Now for the annual town meeting. This is quite a few pages. I'm going to read some of it, but I will not read all of it. And I would ask my colleagues to share in that responsibility. Yes,
I have a procedural question, being the new kid on the block.
Yep.
As we read through these, if we have a different view than the FinCom, do we deal with it then, or do we deal with it separate?
We would deal with it tonight.
yeah, we're going to deal with it. But he's asking if we, once the article is read, whether or not we can deal with it then. I thought in the past, and correct me, Dr. Z, and Mrs. Goulart's here also, is that we voted to have these warrants on the warrant articles approved as far as being on the warrant for the residents to vote on. And then anybody who questions any of the articles can discuss it. And then we vote on the articles that we don't have a disagreement on. Rather than going through all of them, we just, if somebody has a question on Article 18, for example, I have no idea what Article 18 is. But if somebody has a question on that, then we can discuss and we can decide whether or not the Board of Selectmen is making that recommendation. Is that okay with you, Selectman Hull?
Yes.
Thank you. So Town of Dayton Annual Town Meeting warrant for June 7, 2021 at 7 p.m. To either of the constables of the Town of Dayton in the County of Bristol, greetings. In the name of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you are directed to notify and warn the inhabitants of the Town of Dayton qualified to vote in elections and town affairs to meet in the Dayton Rehoboth Regional High School Auditorium on Monday, the 7th of June, 2021 at 7 p.m. Then and there to act on the following articles. Article 1, to hear reports of the town officials and the Capital Outlay Committee and act thereon. Article 2, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to appoint all necessary town officials and town committees not otherwise provided for by statute or act thereon. Article 3, to act relative to establishing the salaries of elected town officials for fiscal year 2022 in accordance with the provisions of Section 108 of Chapter 41 of the general laws or act thereon. Board of Assessors, the chairman figure would be $87,427.44. Members to each is $4,855.50 for a total of $97,138.44. Board of Selectmen, chairman, $5,000, and the members, the two members is also $5,000 each for a total of $15,000. The tree warden is $263.82. I don't know how they come up with that figure. The moderator is $596.85. The town clerk is $81,565.07. The town collector is $41,934.69. The town treasurer is $41,934.69. The planning board, the chairman is $2,195.16. The members for each is $2,195.16 for a total of $10,975.80. And the sewer commissioner chairman is $3,230. Members, there are two each, $2,143 for a total of $7,516. Article 4, to see if the town will vote to raise by taxation and or transfer from available funds the appropriate net appropriation necessary to defray town charges and assessments as considered by the finance committee or act thereon. Town of Dayton budget for the fiscal year 2021. Account number 113, town meeting, personal expenses, 2,700, expenses, 1,500 for a total of 4,200. Account number 114, moderator, personal expenses, $500, total appropriation, $500. Account number 122, the Board of Selectmen. Personal expenses, $91,119.50, and the expenses of $80,650, for a total of $171,769.50. Account number 124, town administrator, personal expenses, $153,086, expenses, $9,410, total appropriations, $162,496. The
Mr.
finance,
Chairman?
yes.
I'm sorry, you're reading the current fiscal year, and I think.
Oh,
No,
don't
it's
tell me.
okay. It's
No,
printed here.
I'm
We-
glad you
yeah.
pointed that out, but I
Yep.
gotta,
No worries.
I now gotta go back.
Just to the budget,
Okay.
just to that.
Yeah,
first
so the
one.
town meeting expenses were the same as last year. The moderator was the same.
Mhm.
The Board of Selectmen, personal expenses, current year, fiscal year 2022, $99,118.77, and expenses, $83,550 for a total appropriation of $182,668.77. I appreciate you bringing that to my attention instead of waiting for me to go through the whole
No,
thing
I
and
know.
then and have to repeat the whole thing. Account number 124, town administrator, $157,690.77, and expenses is $9,410 for a total of $167,100.77. The account number 131, finance committee, is $3,595 for personal expenses, and expenses themselves is $700 for a total of $4,295. Account number 132, reserve fund, expenses, $50,000. Account number 135, town accountant, $127,073.65 for personal expenses. Expenses is $26,240 for a total of $153,313.65. Account number 141, Board of Assessors, personal expenses is $206,104.50, and expenses are $17,050 for a total appropriation of $223,154.50. Account number 145, town treasurer, personal expenses, $91,222.81. Expenses is $36,325. Account number 146, town collector.
You have to give the total, just the.
Oh, total, did I not give the total?
Nope.
For account number 145, town treasurer, the total appropriation is $127,547.81. 146, account number 146, town collector, personal expenses is $92,322.81. And the expenses are $21,525 for a total appropriation of $113,847.81. Town council, account number 151, expenses is $50,000. Account number 155, data processing. Personal expenses is $0. Expenses is $66,706.28. Total appropriation is the same, $66,706.28. Account number 158, tax title foreclosure. Expenses is $16,000. Total appropriation is $16,000. Account number 161, town clerk, personal expenses, $132,559, and expenses is $6,550 for a total of $139,109.60. Elections, account number 162, personal expenses is $3,900, expenses is $8,600, total appropriation is $12,500. Account number 163, registration, personal expenses is $600, expenses is $4,100, and the total appropriation is $4,700. Account number 171, Conservation Commission, personal expenses, $57,520, expenses, $4,000, for a total of $61,520. Account number 174, Dayton Trails Committee, expenses, $2,550. Account number 175, Planning Board, personal expenses, $54,973.52. And expenses is $18,264.55 for a total appropriation of $73,238.07. Account number 176, Board of Appeals, personal expenses, $28,611.15. And the expenses is $11,950 for a total of $40,561.15. The Agricultural Commission, account number 179, personal expenses is $2,515. Personal expenses is $0. Expenses is $2,515. Total appropriation is $2,515. Account number 192, get ready for somebody to take over when we get to the 200s. 192, public buildings and property maintenance, expenses, $174,100. Total appropriations, $174,100. Account number 193, building insurance, expenses is $50,000. Total appropriation is $50,000. Account number 195, town reports, expenses, $2,500. Total appropriation is $2,500. And I would ask someone, for a total amount of all those budgets we talked about is $1,720,078.41. I would ask somebody to continue with public safety.
Budget account number 210, Police Department, personnel expenses, $1,607,674.67. Expenses, $161,500 for a total appropriation of $1,769,174.67. Account 215, Communications Department, personnel expenses, $359,996.13. Expenses, $30,950 for a total appropriation of $390,946.13. Account 220, Fire Department, personnel expenses, $650,946.60. Expenses, $99,802 for a total appropriation of $750,748.60. Account 231, ambulance services, personnel expenses, $658,911.43. Expenses, $123,050 for a total appropriation of $781,961.43. Just a note, RNA, $216,362.46 for personnel. Ambulance fund, $410,000 even for personnel. And one from the ambulance fund, $130,050 for expenses. Account 241, building inspection, personnel expenses, $131,248.38. Expenses, $38,130 for a total appropriation of $169,378.38. Account 242, gas inspection, personnel expenses, $8,000 even, for a total appropriation of $8,000. Account number 243, plumbing inspection, personnel expenses, $8,000, total appropriation, $8,000 even. Account 244, weights and measures, personnel expenses, $1,200, expenses, $370 for a total appropriation of $1,570. Account 245, electrical inspection, personnel expenses, $20,000, for a total appropriation of $20,000 even. Account 292, Animal Control Officer, personnel expenses, $23,558.40. Expenses, $10,000 for a total appropriation of $33,558.40. Account 294, Forestry, personnel expenses, $263.82 for a total appropriation of $263.82. Account 295, Harbor Master, personnel expenses, $2,500 even, expenses, $5,800 for a total appropriation of $8,300. Note, transfer $5,000 from MWIMF and raise and appropriate $6,800. Account 299, Emergency Preparedness Committee, expenses, $8,500 for a total appropriation of $8,500. Total public safety fiscal year 2022 request, is $3,950,401.43. Education, account number 300, education. Expenses, 5690. Fiscal year 2022 request is $11,155,432 for the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School District. Expenses 5691, fiscal year 2022 request is $101,000.76 for the Bristol County Agricultural High School. And expenses 5692 for the Bristol Plymouth High School is $1,060,859 for a total education fiscal year 2022 request of $12,317,291.76. Highway, account number 422, highway construction and maintenance, personnel expenses, $621,397.73. Expenses, $161,900 for a total appropriation of $783,297.73. Account number 423, snow and ice control, personnel expenses, $13,250. Expenses, $36,750 for a total appropriation of $50,000 even. Account number 429, Dayton Berkeley Dayton Bridge. I like how someone put Dayton first. Expenses, just an observation. Expenses, $1,500 for a total appropriation of $1,500 even. Account number 432, street cleaning / stormwater. The personnel expenses, the request for FY22 is $127,695.43. And the expenses are $102,160 even, for a total appropriation of $229,855.43 for a total highway fiscal year 2022 request of $1,064,653.16. Sanitation, account number 433, waste collection and disposal, personnel expenses. The request for FY22 is $9,226.77, and the expenses request is $740,041.54 for a total appropriation of $749,268.31 for a total sanitation departmental fiscal year 2022 request of $749,268.31. Other environmental, account number 491, cemetery, expenses request for FY22 is $19,700 even, for a total appropriation of $19,700 even, and the total other environmental departmental request is $19,700 even.
Thank you, Dr. Z.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask Selectman Hull to start with the human services, account number 510.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. Under Human Services, account number 510, Board of Health Regulations and Inspection, personal expenses, $62,221.33. Expenses, $1,500 for a total appropriation of $63,721.33. Account number 519, Board of Health Administration, personal expenses, $69,186.25. The expenses, $4,900 for a total appropriation of $74,086.25. Account number 541, Council on Aging. Personal expenses, $85,434.60. Expenses, $20,025.60. The total appropriation, $105,459.60. For account number 542, prime time. Personal expenses, $77,243.81. For a total appropriation, $77,243.81. Account number 543, Veteran Services, personal expenses, $48,154.75. Expenses, $85,825 for a total appropriation of $133,979.75. The ADA Coordinator, account number 549. Personal expenses, $8,000. Expenses, $8,200. Total appropriation, $16,820 and no cents. The total human services appropriation for fiscal year 2022 is $471,310.74. Under Culture and Recreation, account number 610, Public Library. Personal expenses, $199,235.66. Expenses, $71,374 for a total appropriation of $270,609.66. Account number 630, Park and Recreation. Expenses, $20,700. Total appropriation, $20,700. Town historian expenses, $0. Total appropriation, $0. Account number 691, Historical Commission expenses, $2,000 for total appropriation of $2,000. Account number 698, Cable Commission, personal expenses, $20,000. Expenses, $12,100 for a total appropriation, $32,100. No PEG access and cable related fund, $32,100. The total culture and recreation appropriation for fiscal year 2022, $325,409.66. Debt services, account number 710, maturing principal on long-term debt. Expenses, $241,669 for a total appropriation of $241,669. Title V, $6,669. Account number 751, interest on long-term debt. The expense, $144,675 for a total appropriation of $144,675. Total debt services for fiscal year 2022, $386,344.
Thank you, Selectman Hull. I will continue, although I
Yay.
believe both of you did a better job than I did, so. But I gotta do my share. Employee benefits, account number 911. Retirement and pension contributions, expenses, $890,368. Total appropriations, $890,368. Account number 912, workman's compensation insurance, expenses, $56,375. Total appropriations, $56,375. Account number 914, group health insurance, expenses, $1,215,744.39 for a total appropriation of $1,215,744.39. Account number 915, group insurance, expenses, $700, total appropriation is $700. Account number 916, employee contribution, expenses, $82,000, total appropriation is $82,000. Account number 919, other post-employment benefits, OPEB. Expenses, $35,000, total appropriation is $35,000. Account number 920, tuition, expenses, $18,000 for total appropriation of $18,000. Total employee benefits is $2,298,187.39. Settlements, account number 940, fiscal year 2022 request is $0. Court judgments, account number 941, request is $0. Total settlement and court judgments is $0. Liability insurance, account number 945, $125,000 for expenses, total appropriations, $125,000. Total liability insurance, $125,000. General fund totals, this is all the money that the town is requesting, is $23,427,644.86. So before we go on to the other articles, I will ask for a motion to approve the articles 1 through 4 to be put on the warrant.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion?
Yes, may I just caught a couple things, if I may, Mr. Chair, just housekeeping things. So on where it says cable commission, account number 698, it's the cable television committee. That is their official name. And this is just to approve them, correct?
This is just
Okay.
to approve them
Yep.
for the
Okay.
warrant.
And that was the only suggestion.
And I believe you
that I had.
seconded.
Yes.
Selectman Hull. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z, and Campuchico, aye. So now we're going to make our recommendations on articles 1 through 4. Is there any discussion or questions about that?
If I may, Mr. Chair, it's a little hard for me to go back into what the Board of Selectmen had previously recommended, because I don't have that information in front of me. The only one that sticks out to me right now as a difference between what the Finance Committee recommended and what the board recommended, majority vote, not by unanimous vote, was account number 549. And I'm just opening that for further discussion.
If I can talk about that, we've attended meetings and we've gone over all the budgets. There was a request for a higher figure. I think there's maybe $16,020 offhand. But after, and the recommendation from the FinCom is $3,000 plus $1,000, I believe, in expenses, I think.
2,000.
2,000 expenses, so $5,000 in expenses. I'm in agreement with the FinCom's recommendation. And I've also spoken with the ADA coordinator, and he's also in agreement with that budget. I'm not sure what the other members feel on that, but I would be supporting on all the budgets, the FinCom's recommendation. We started off being almost a little bit more than $500,000 over the levy. They had to make cuts. Some departments have agreed to those cuts, others wanted to go forward with their recommendation, which is fine. But I do support fully the recommendations of the FinCom. They've done a lot of work, as they always do, and I'm supporting their recommendation. Selectman Hull, you have any comments?
Actually, In regards to personnel expenses.
Mhm.
After having discussions with many people following what I said at the finance committee,
Mhm.
I am supporting the $3,000 recommendation of FinCom.
Mhm.
However, I question the expenses. Originally, ADA had put in a request for $4,000,
Mhm.
and that was cut to $2,000.
Mhm.
And I just want to caution people. Under the Americans with Disabilities Act, employees who have disabilities are entitled to reasonable accommodation.
Mhm.
That is not a luxury. That is the law.
Mhm.
So my experience in creating budgets,
Mhm.
we usually put together requisitions. And usually when we throw out numbers, it's based on past practice, past expenses, or a estimate of expenses that are based upon real needs.
Mhm.
So although there's $2,000 here, I hope the town understands that they may have to appropriate more if they stick with that $2,000 number. Because under ADA,
Mhm.
he
is entitled to those reasonable accommodations.
And I agree with that. But the FinCom's recommendation is only $1,000 for that account. Other expenses is for supplies and so it's a total of $2,000. We're gonna have our town administrator monitor the services that are needed by the ADA coordinator. And quite frankly, and I agree with you 100%, if the ADA coordinator needs further assistance, further monies, we are obligated to fund that. But I think because this is the first year that that money's been allocated, he's never requested that in the past. I think the FinCom just wants to be cautious on it, but it's going to cost us more than $1,000. That's the reality of it.
I just wanted to add, I fully agree with both of my colleagues. Before Town Administrator Mullen had come, I had, as acting in that role as the chairman of the Board of Selectmen, had also recommended $3,000 originally. So I totally support that. And I'm going to support the Finance Committee's recommendation. I agree with your caution. And I think in FY22, if the board is so amenable to allow the town administrator to approve certain discretionary spending requests, that maybe we could think about allowing Mr. Mullen to work sort of hand in glove with Mr. Gale, who's in that role as ADA coordinator, and monitoring the auxiliary aids. My only question is, I know there was a very specific $4,000+ request.
$4,320.
I know that auxiliary aids for someone who is vision impaired and is an employee of the town of Dayton is required under Title II, and I understand that. My only, in agreement with your caution, Selectman Hull, my only question is $1,000 enough? I think we all have that concern. So perhaps we can have a broader discussion in the new fiscal year when we revisit the discretionary spending requests and how they'll be handled, so that it doesn't have to wait. Something like that doesn't have to wait to come back to the Board of Selectmen, because I know Mr. Gale and the COD Commission have a lot of important work to do, and they will be very active in the next fiscal year, especially with the Dayton Public Library short-term building needs. So, but I will support the Finance Committee's recommendation.
Is there anything else on the budget that any member disagrees with the FinCom's recommendation, not the department's recommendation, but the FinCom's recommendation? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that I have a bug on my, hold on. Okay, sorry. I make a motion that we approve Article 1. I'm sorry, that we recommend Articles 1 through 4 to mirror the Finance Committee recommendations as listed in the warrant.
I second.
Any further discussion? If not, ask for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Sografis?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Continuing with the reading of the articles, article number 5, and just the public, bear in mind, we have 31 articles, I believe, so. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to approve the following sums to be expended under the direction of the Board of Sewer Commissioners for the maintenance of the sewer enterprise for fiscal year 2022. Direct cost, salaries, $115,338.38. Expenses, $191,350. Capital expenses, $150,000. And indirect cost total of $24,818.87. The above appropriations will be funded as follows. $312,000 through sewer receipts and $169,507.25 transferred from the sewer enterprise retained earnings total of $481,507.25. Article 6, to see if the town to see if the town will, pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E and a half, as most recently amended, establish fiscal year limitations on expenditures from the revolving fund established by the Town of Dayton bylaws, Section 36. Department revolving funds with such limitations for fiscal year 2022 as follows. Revolving account, trustees of the Dayton Public Library, copying, fax, and printing services, $5,000 limit. Trustees of the Dayton Public Library, fines and monies collected for overdue, loss, or damaged materials, $8,000. And Council on Aging Board, fees, charges, and receipts for services rendered by Prime Time, $150,000. Article 7, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to sell at public auction and further allow the Board of Selectmen to sell through the sealed bid process according to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30B, Section 16, all properties which the town has legally acquired by tax title or take any action there relative thereto. Article 8, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town treasurer with the approval of the Board of Selectmen to borrow money from time to time in anticipation of revenue of the financial year beginning July 1st, 2021, in accordance with the provisions of Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 4, and to issue a note or notes, therefore, payable within 1 year, and to renew any notes or notes as may be given for the period of less than 1 year in accordance with general laws, Mass General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 17, or take any action there relative thereto. Article 9, to see if the town will vote to appropriate from available funds from Mass Department of Public Works for fiscal year 2022 for the purpose of expending funds for capital improvements of local roads under Transportation Bond Issue, Chapter 90, $301,977, or take any action relative thereto. Article 10, to see if the town will vote to make changes in grade, take land by purchase or eminent domain, and to settle damages from land taken in conjunction with the fiscal year 2022 highway program under Chapter 90 and the town road improvement program, or take any action relative thereto. Article 11, to see if the town will vote to grant to the Board of Selectmen the authority to obtain whatever parcels or easements as necessary to make changes in grade, take land by purchase or eminent domain, and to settle damages from land taken in conjunction with highway maintenance or road or bridge reconstruction projects, or take any action relative thereto. Article 12, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen, subject to the approval of the Finance Committee, to dispose of items returned to them by sale to the highest bidder or take any action relative thereto. Article 13, to see if the town of Dayton residents will vote to approve of applying the annual cost of living allowance to Mass Department of Revenue local property tax exemptions for veterans and or surviving spouses under clauses 22, 22A, 22B, 22C, 22D, 22E, and 22F per Section 5 of the Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Chapter 59, Chapter 126 of the Acts of 1998, or take any action relative thereof. So I'm going to ask for a motion that we approve the Articles 5 through 13 to be placed on the warrant at the annual town meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote. Selectman Hull?
I actually do have a couple, they're just questions, not discussion. I don't disagree with any of them.
Okay, no,
May I
that's fine.
ask?
No, that's,
Under Article 10.
well, why not- I'll get the
Oops, sorry.
second, and then you can
Yep.
ask your questions. Okay,
Second.
second.
Yep.
Any discussion?
Yes, under Article 10, just a question. The town road improvement program that they're alluding to, is that the street prioritization plan of Mr. Ferry's? Okay. Thank you. Nice to
I
see
saw
you.
a no.
Chapter 90 money gets it.
Okay. But it's saying under Chapter 90 and the town road improvement program, so I was just wondering what that was referring to. But thank you, we have Selectman Goulart here. as the
Yeah.
camera's on.
In person.
Yeah. My other question was, under, it's not a question, under Article 5, I think it's supposed to read Finance Committee recommends, not recommendations. That was it? Huh? It's Article
Page 10.
5. Finance Committee recommends, it says recommendations. That's it, Mr. Chair.
I'll call for a vote then. Selectman Hull, or do you have any questions or? No. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Segravas?
Aye.
And Campuchico is an aye. Now, Board of Selectmen's recommendations on any article from Article 5 through Article 13. Is there any recommendations from the Board of Selectmen?
I will, if you're entertaining motions and the board is amenable, I will make a motion to approve articles, to recommend, excuse me, Articles 5 through 13.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Segravas?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Would someone like to continue reading from Article 14, please?
Sure. Article 14, to see if the town will vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation Annual Reserves in the amounts recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for the committee administrative expenses, community preservation projects, and other expenses in the fiscal year 2022, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. Appropriations. From FY 2022 estimated revenues for the committee administrative expenses, $5,000. Reserves from FY 2022 estimated revenues for historic resources, excuse me, $12,500. From FY 2022 estimated revenues for community housing reserve, $12,500. From FY 2022 estimated revenues for open space, $12,500. And from FY 2022 estimated revenues for budget reserve, $82,500. Finance Committee recommends. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $25,000 from the Historic Resources Reserve to be expended by the Community Preservation Commission for the hiring of a preservation consultant to complete the Dayton community-wide survey project to update the listing of historic resources in town or take any action relative thereto. Background, the town will be reimbursed $12,500 from the Massachusetts Historical Commission FY 2021 Survey and Planning Grant Program upon completion of the project. Finance Committee recommends, and for anyone watching, Mrs. Gales from the Historic Commission has been at several of our meetings discussing this. Article 16, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds the sum of $108,513.97 to be expended by the fire chief as the first payment of a 7-year lease to purchase, I think that should say lease to purchase, of a new fire engine and any necessary accessories related thereto, or take any action relative thereto, and the Finance Committee recommends that $108,514 even be taken from free cash. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds the sum of $62,800 even to be expended by the Chief of Police for the purchase of one fully equipped police vehicle, including computer, firearm, or patrol rifle, radio, antenna, and any accessories related thereto, or take any other action relative thereto, and the Finance Committee is recommending $45,000 from free cash. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and/or transfer from available funds a sum not to exceed $100,000 even to be expended by the highway superintendent to purchase one used forestry truck or take any action relative thereto. The finance committee recommends this come from capital stabilization. I believe that's the total $100,000. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer from available funds the sum of $122,028.90 to be expended by the highway superintendent to purchase one utility tractor with a 21-foot, I believe, boom mower, or take any action relative thereto. Finance committee recommends $64,029 be taken from free cash for that. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer from available funds the sum of $50,561.92 to be expended by the highway superintendent as the second year lease payment on the 2020 street sweeper, voted in Article 22 of the annual town meeting warrant of June 15th, 2020, or take any action relative thereto. Finance committee recommends it be taken from free cash. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer from available funds the sum of $30,000 even to be expended by the Dayton Trails Committee to fund a feasibility study to provide viable options and initial concepts to connect the future 2-mile DCR Sweet Snow Trail to the north and south with on-road and off-road trail options to connect the town of Dayton to the Taunton River Trails Network north across the 3-mile river to Taunton and south along the waterfront to Somerset, or take any action relative thereto. Finance committee recommends to defer. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer from available funds a sum not to exceed $9,000 to be expended by the Board of Selectmen to perform a townwide wage classification study for members of the clerical union, Public Employees Local 272, Laborers International Union of North America, AFL-CIO, or take any action relative thereto. The Finance Committee recommends free cash. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate and or transfer from available funds a sum of money not to exceed $90,000 to be expended by the Board of Selectmen to perform renovations to Town Hall for upgrades and to provide additional office space or take any action relative thereto. Finance Committee recommends to defer. You want me to keep going or?
Which article was that, the last one?
23. We
If you
stopped
could
at
just read 24, and then I want to ask
Yep.
Selectman Hull to continue.
Absolutely. Article 24. To see if the town will vote to reappropriate the amount of $118,529 from special article account number 010-2-422-0000-18-5300 Complete Street Sidewalk Project approved in Article 44 of the special town meeting on October 26, 2017 to be expended by the highway superintendent for an ADA compliant roadway, sidewalk, and crosswalk accessibility project or take any action relative thereto, and the Finance Committee recommends.
I'll ask for a motion to approve the articles for the warrant, articles number 14 through 24.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I have a second, but I have a question. On
Discussion?
Article 21, Finance Committee recommends to defer. Should it say to defer to the fall, or does that leave it open-ended? And
I think they just said it's, oh, I'm sorry.
No, my understanding is, you know, from the Finance Committee, their recommendation is that it be deferred to the fall. However, it's not specific here. So maybe in our recommendation on these, we can ask that be deferred to the fall
Yes.
meeting.
At least to be considered at the.
Yes.
We don't know.
The
if
article,
we'll-
well, the article be deferred to the fall meeting and let the voters decide on that. I'll ask for there's no further discussion. I'll ask for a vote. Selectman Hull, Dr. Z,
Before I give my eye, I just wanted to say on Article 23, that's one of my goals is to complete the town hall renovation project. I actually am going to agree, sorry, Mr. Aguirre, although I'm sure he agrees too, with the Finance Committee's recommendation to defer, because given what we've heard tonight about the Dayton Public Library, I think that this is fine. We can have the building commissioner, who is also our town maintenance building person, go-to guy, to work closely hand in glove with Town Administrator Mullen and the other committee, and really have the library be the focus at least in the short term. So I support
Yes,
this.
so
I
we're
support
voting
the-
right now, we're voting on putting the articles on the
Oh,
warrant.
okay, I'm sorry, I thought we were recommending.
I don't think we're recommending, I think we're just voting on the articles.
Mhm.
So it went to you, Dr.
I
Z.
second. Mhm.
No, I think you're voting now.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that- Selectman Hull has said aye, you aye, and Campuchico is also an aye. And our recommendations for, on these articles, Articles 14 through 24, I personally support the recommendations of the Finance Committee on these articles. And I also agree with what Dr. Z just said moments ago, that it should be recommended it be deferred to the fall special town meeting.
Are you entertaining motion?
I'll entertain a motion, yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we recommend Articles 14 through 24 as prepared in the warrant, except for Articles 21 and 23, which should read that the Board of Selectmen recommends to defer to the special town meeting or the fall town meeting, however it's phrased.
Yeah. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Selectman Hull, could you continue with the Article 25,
Certainly.
please?
Article 25, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into any contracts and otherwise undertake any and all action necessary to accept a gift of real estate from the owners of real property located on the north side of Main Street and identified on the Town of Dayton Assessors Map 17 as Lot 129, being 1 acre of land more or less. Lot 131 being 3.5 acres of land more or less. Lot 164 being 1.73 acres of land more or less, to be used for open space and recreation purposes, contingent upon successful results of a Phase 1 environmental site assessment, and authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into all agreements and execute any and all instruments as may be necessary or appropriate to complete the foregoing acquisition or take any action relative thereto. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws, section 2916, by deleting the existing marijuana cultivator definition in its entirety and replacing with the following definition: marijuana cultivator, or taking any action thereon. Marijuana cultivator shall mean an entity licensed to cultivate, process, and package marijuana, and to deliver and/or transfer to other marijuana establishments, but not to consumers. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws, section 2916, by deleting the existing marijuana product manufacturer definition in its entirety and replacing with the following definition: marijuana cultivator, or taking any action thereon. Marijuana product manufacturer shall mean an entity licensed to obtain, manufacture, process, or package cannabis or marijuana products and to deliver and/or transfer these products to other marijuana establishments, but not to consumers. Appendix A, use regulation schedule of the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws shall be amended to reflect these changes. Article 28, to see if the town will vote in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 38H, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes agreement with DG Dayton LLC of Scottsdale, Arizona, with a principal place of business of 4,900 North Scottsdale Road, Suite 5000, Scottsdale, Arizona, zip code 85251, or its assigns for a period of 15 years, and to approve said agreement under which DG Dayton LLC with a principal place of business at 4,900 North Scottsdale Road, Suite 5,000, Scottsdale, Arizona, 85251, or its assigns, will pay the town a sum of money per year relative to 11 plus or minus acre parcel of land located at 2,734 Elm Street, Dayton, Mass. Map 23, parcel 10, related to the construction and operation of a photovoltaic solar facility with an expected nameplate capacity of approximately 3.13 megawatts MW, alternating current AC, said tax agreement on file in the town clerk's office, provided that the fiscal year 2020 appellate tax board matter involving the subject property is resolved as a condition precedent to execution of said pilot agreement, or take any action relative thereto. Article 29, to see if the town will vote in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 38H, to authorize the Board of Selectmen to enter into a payment in lieu of taxes pilot agreement with GHTJA03 LLC of Dover, Delaware, with a principal place of business at 850 New Britain Road, number 201, Dover, Delaware, zip code 19904, or its assigns for a period of 20 years, and to approve said agreement under which GHTJA03 LLC, with a principal place of business at 850 New Britain Road, number 201, Dover, Delaware, or its assigns will pay the town a sum of money per year relative to a 16.6 plus or minus acre parcel of land located at 893 Brook Street, Dayton, Massachusetts, map 16, parcel 28, related to the construction and operation of a photovoltaic solar facility when an expected nameplate capacity of approximately 2 megawatts MW, alternative current AC, said tax agreement on file in the town clerk's office, or take any action relative thereto. Article 30, to see if the town will vote to amend the town of Dayton compensation.
Conservation.
I believe,
Typo.
should that be conservation?
You can have a
Commission regulations, bylaws and policies in section 3 by deleting said section 3 and replacing in its place the following section 3, or take any action thereon. Applications for permits and requests for determination. Written application shall be filed with this commission to perform activities affecting resource areas protected by this bylaw. This application should be the standard form as set forth by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, DEP. At the time of a permit application, the applicant shall pay a filing fee as set forth by the DEP. No local fee is required. However, the local portion set forth by the DEP is necessary. At the time a permit application is received, or at any time during the hearing process, the commission is authorized to require an applicant to pay the fee for specific expert engineering and other consultant services deemed necessary by the commission to come to a final decision on the application. The commission will select the consultant in question. As provided by Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53G, the Dayton Conservation Commission may employ reasonable fees for the employment of outside consultants engaged by the commission for specific outside expert services. Such services shall be deemed necessary by the commission to come to a final decision on an application submitted to the Conservation Commission pursuant to the requirements of the Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40. The Dayton Wetlands Protections Bylaw, the Conservation Commission Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 8C, or any other state or municipal statute, bylaw, or regulation, as they may be amended from time to time. Conservation Commission may also impose fees for other consultant services related to the application review or permit conditioning or monitoring under any of the above referenced laws or regulations. Said fees for said services shall be set forth in a regulation to be adopted by vote on the Conservation Commission in accordance with applicable law, including but not limited to Mass General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53G. The commission may waive the filing fee, consultant fee, and costs and expenses for a permit application or request for determination filed by a government agency. The commission shall require the payment of the consultant fee prior to the initiation of consulting services. Failure by the applicant to pay the consulting fee specified by the commission within 10 business days of the request for payment or refusal of payment shall be cause for the commission to deny the application based on lack of sufficient information to evaluate whether the project meets applicable performance standards in 310 CMR 10 and the Dayton Wetlands Protection Bylaws or regulations. The applicant shall pay the fee to the town of Dayton to fund the 53G consulting services account established by the commission with the town treasurer's office, which may be drawn upon by the commission for specific consulting services approved by the commission at one of its public meetings. The commission shall return any unused portion of the consultant fee to the applicant upon completion of the project, along with any accrued interest.
Thank you, Selectman Hull.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion for the public, if you're still awake. I will entertain a motion that we approve article that we put on the warrant, Articles 25 through 30.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, and they'll be amending on Article 30, conversation will be changed to conservation.
Do we want to have a conversation about that? Or we want to conserve our time? I don't know. All those in favor say aye. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Article 31.
Oh, I still.
Oh, wait, we
I
have to
just
do our
wanna-
recommendations too. We
No,
haven't
no,
done it. No,
I
but we
didn't
have to.
catch that part. I just wanted to ask, because we have people here who are in the know. On Article 28, I know it names the exact business, and my question is where it says, or it's assigned, does that language cover us if ownership changes hands? Because sometimes these things do. Okay, just making sure. I'm all set.
Yes, and I'm hoping that former Selectwoman Goulart will speak to these pilot agreements at the annual town meeting.
Gladly.
You've done a lot of work on these, so.
It'll either be we vote for or we're not acting on these.
I'll entertain a motion on recommendations from the Board of Selectmen on these Articles 25 through 30.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we recommend Articles 25 through 30 with Selectman Hull's amendment on Article 30.
Is there
Second.
any discussion? If not, Selectman Hull, how do you vote?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Article 31. To see if the town will vote to amend the town of Dayton's zoning bylaws in section 6 by deleting the existing kennel residential definition in its entirety and replacing with the following definition of kennel residential, or take any action thereon. Kennel residential, a pack of collections of 4 or more dogs that are owned or kept on a single ownership for personal use and enjoyment may be allowed in the residential or business district with approval of from the animal control officer and or chief of police or his or her designee. This also includes a personal kennel as defined in Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 136(8). Note, this section does not apply to properties with 3 dogs or less. I'm going to ask that this article not be put on the warrant, that we have some more investigation on this in the wording of this article, so that we have it on the special town meeting in the fall if it's completed at that time.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
I think I know where you're going with this, and I'm gonna support your requests. My only question is, I really hope that we get this right for the next town meeting. This has been brought back and approved by residents several times. No, I'm sorry, it was approved once and then it came back. So it's come to a town meeting several times. And I really just want the special town meeting in the fall to please be the last time. So that's my ask.
Yeah, I think it's been approved, then it came back, and then we withdrew it, I think, at one of the special annual town meeting. Selectman Hull?
Has this article been reviewed by town council, this particular one?
Yes, it has. Yes, all the proposed articles have been reviewed by town council.
Did he have any recommendations?
He, as I understand, he really looks at the language. He doesn't really get into the policy.
Okay.
Real decisions of the articles, but for what it's worth, I do agree with Mr. Pacheco. I think taking a good hard look like that, kennel licensing articles, like bylaws in the entirety, would be really helpful.
I just wanted to make a point, if it's okay, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
that town council said that Article 31 does seek to make changes to the zoning bylaw, and that a 2/3 vote will be needed, as well as a planning board recommendation. But they didn't state one way or the other if it was, in good order.
So a motion that Article 31 be continued to the special town meeting in the fall.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that the Board of Selectmen recommend, right? Or so we're going to keep it on. Okay, we're going to keep it on.
I don't believe we're going to keep it on. I think we're not going to put it.
Okay, so I'll change my word.
Am I correct? It's
Yeah.
not going to be a warrant article this time, but
Okay.
we're asking that it be
Yep.
continued to the fall
No
special
worries.
town meeting.
Thank you, sir, for clarifying. So actually, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we not include Article 31 on tonight's warrant on the final annual town meeting warrant, and that Article 32 be changed to Article 31.
I second.
Any discussion? If not, let's vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Sokafis?
Aye.
And Campuchico is an aye. Article 32, to act upon any other business that lawfully may be introduced at said meeting hereof, fail not, and make due return of this warrant with your doings thereon to the town clerk at the time and place of meeting as aforesaid. Given on our hands this 12th day of May in the year of our Lord 2021, and of the independence of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the 245th. The 245th. And it's to be signed by the Board of Selectmen. I'll entertain a motion to put Article 32 on the warrant for June 7th,
So
annual
moved.
town meeting. Is there a second?
Second, under discussion.
Yes.
If we drop Article 31, this 32 will be 31.
Yes.
Yes. Thanks for that clarification. All those in favor, Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Sokafis?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Whew. So have we met all our obligations to put the articles on the warrant, and we made our recommendations? I don't see a need for recommendation on Article 31 now. It's now 31.
Can't complain too much. One time, Selectman Goulart and I finished the reading when my first year, it was literally 2 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was pretty good. Good job.
Just keep in mind, the alarm's going to go off at 11. So I hope to be done before 11. Okay. Review, discuss, and act on employee vacation time update. Town administrator, I believe you submitted you sent a letter to all department heads.
Yes, I did, Mr. Tillerson. I just want to clarify, originally, there was accompanying information, that went out, as feedback to the memo. That feedback has since been withdrawn. But after the last after the board's last meeting, I did send, the included memo out. It's really setting out, what the expectation was that came out of the meeting. And we discussed it at the department head meeting as well this morning. I've had conversations, individually, with department heads, with employees, with union representatives, and everyone understands the point and the intent of, the memo where we are, what the board's direction is for the last meeting. And everyone is working to, make sure they're in a place to adhere to that as well.
Thank you.
May I ask a
Yes,
question?
thank you for that.
Town Administrator Mullen, I'm sorry, I missed the first part. There was department head feedback or employee feedback that was withdrawn, and I'm not asking for names or anything. I just missed that.
Yes, there was department head and employee feedback that was actually submitted, but then withdrawn.
Okay, like concerns with the decision or? The only reason-
Asking for more flexibility.
Okay,
And special requests.
yep, okay, I understand, thank you.
Review, discuss, and act on Winthrop Street Town. Provide us with an update on this, town administrator.
So yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Included in your packet, as a result of, I believe, the April 22nd, a letter that I sent on behalf of the town to DEP. On Friday, May 7th, we received a response from DEP. And actually, if I could just read that really quick, just for the public edification. It says, "Dear Mr. Mullen, in response to your letter to Mass DEP regarding the order of conditions issued by the Department of Conservation Commission under DEP file number SE 0732874. DEP has contacted the Department of Conservation Commission to determine whether all abutters to the project site have been notified as required by the Wetlands Protection Act. It was confirmed that the applicant had failed to properly notify one abutter, the Dayton Water District, which owns a 62-acre parcel abutting the project site. The Taunton Conservation Commission subsequently contacted Jeff Truman, superintendent of the Dayton Water District, to inform him that an order of conditions had been issued for work on an abutting parcel in Taunton. The Taunton Conservation Commission also contacted the applicant regarding this issue. And it was agreed that the applicant would cease all activity that authorized by the order of conditions, and that the public hearing before the commission would be reopened. With all butters giving proper notice of the reopened public hearing, thereby giving all butters the opportunity to communicate with the commission, an applicant any concerns about the project. After the reopened public hearing is closed, the commission will issue an amended order of conditions for this project. Based on the actions taken by the Taunton Conservation Commission to address this issue, DEP has determined that there is no need for the Taunton Conservation Commission or DEP to issue a cease and desist at this time. Thank you for bringing this matter to my attention. Please feel free to contact me if you have any questions. And that is, I'm David Johnson, the Deputy Regional Director, Bureau of Water Resources, DEP Southeast Region. Subsequent to receiving Mrs. Johnson's email this past Friday, yesterday, just by a happenstance, we found out that the reopened hearing that DEP had referenced in the email has been scheduled for this coming Monday night. within May 17th, 2021. It's scheduled at Taunton City Hall, 15 Summer Street in Taunton at 6 p.m. And the second item on the agenda is a reopen of the hearing for Winthrop Street Grower Estates, which is a project in question. So there is, although a very quick turnaround in terms of, our notification from DEP and when the hearing is actually scheduled for this coming Monday night. There is the opportunity for Dayton and Dayton abutters to communicate any questions, any concerns, any questions about impact to the Taunton Conservation Commission. I believe internally there are some, there are some departments that are already pulling any questions about impact together. Again, it is a abbreviated timeline, so we're trying to do that in very quick stead. But just wanted to give everybody an update on that. I'd be happy to take any questions or.
Does the board have any questions?
Not at this time.
I just want to thank Mrs. Goulart for bringing this to our attention.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mullen, as well as our conservation agent on acting on this. So I appreciate that.
Thank you all.
Selectmen's report. I will give a COVID update. This is from the Board of Health, our local Board of Health in Dayton. From May 3rd to May 9th of 2021, we've had 4 confirmed positive cases. Total number of positives to date is 726. Deaths, there were no deaths this past week. Deaths to date is 7. Total incoming calls for the Board of Health is 160. Total outgoing tracing calls is 32. Homebound registered is 1. Number of residents pre-registered by the Board of Health is 2. And number of calls for vaccine assistance was 6. From Thursday to Wednesday, May 3rd to May 9th, they were confirmed positive 5 cases. That was Monday to Sunday. 0 to ages 19, we had 2. 20 to 29 is 1. 30 to 39 is 0. 40 to 49 is 1. 50 to 64 is 0. 65 to 74 is 0. And 75 plus is 1. So total to date is 731 cases. And fully vaccinated individuals from May 3rd to May 9th, we've added 257. From ages 0 to 9, it's 7 for a total of 7 that week from May 3rd to May 9th. Total of 42, 20 to 29, a total of 203, 30 to 39, it's a total of 678, 50 to 64, 804, 65 to 74 is 555, and 75 plus is 342 for a total of $2,624, $24. Those numbers are great. I'm glad people are getting vaccinated. I can't stress enough how important it is to get vaccinated. Pfizer was approved by the CDC and FDA for ages 12 to 15. My 12-year-old granddaughter has an appointment tomorrow. We have one grandson that's left to be vaccinated. He's not old enough yet, but I can't stress enough how important it is to get vaccinated. This is the reason why the numbers are going down. And for Massachusetts, as of yesterday, we had no deaths from COVID-19, which is amazing that we're getting to that point. So if people wear their masks, I know how frustrating that is, to social distance, and also to get vaccinated. I see that we can beat this and things will get better. And I'm just looking forward to when we don't have to wear the masks. And I just can't tell you the advantage of being vaccinated. I was able to hug my grandchildren over the weekend for my wife's Mother's Day and my children, and it was just great. So please continue doing the great job that the residents are doing as far as vaccinations. The other thing I want to mention is that the ADA coordinator, myself, and Nicole Mello from the Commission on Disability has met with the group that's working on the James Briggs Garden next door to a property now next door to Town Hall to make sure it's ADA compliant. They're doing a great job. and the ADA coordinators working on talking about possible grants to assist them. And I noticed the past couple of days that the highway department's been working over there, clearing out the land. And they hope that sometime in the fall, they're going to be able to make the raised beds and begin some of the soil amendments to the gardens, and then in the springtime actually have the gardens going. So I just want to thank them for all the great work that they're doing. But that's my selectmen's report. Any other reports that?
I don't have a formal report, but I would just like to add, based off of your feedback regarding the community garden, that I forget the exact name, but they have named it, I think.
Yeah, they don't, it's not a community garden, it's the James Briggs
Briggs.
garden. Yep.
So regarding the garden next door, the Agricultural Commission does have a budget for FY21, and I would, if we could please reach out to the custodians, Ms. Montero, Ms. Barr, and also Ms. Patricio, and ask them if there's any supplies that they think that they're going to need for the garden next year. They may want to think about starting to purchase those basic gardening tools if we don't already have them, and if they're not donated.
Yeah, that is the plan. And we met Friday with them. They're going to attend the Agricultural Commission's meeting. I think it's on Monday. I think so.
Third Tuesday. I think.
Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
They're going to meet with them, and they're going to talk about some of the things they want to do with the money that's in the account this year.
Yep.
And they've also, the Finance Committee, as well as us, has recommended that the Agricultural Commission be funded the same, so that next year they'd be able to assist the people that are running the garden over there. So
Okay.
the funds are going to be the same. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
okay, moving right along, new business. Board of Selectmen's meeting scheduled for July through December. Has everybody had the opportunity to look at the schedule?
Yes.
Any questions on the schedule? Anybody have plans that may interfere with that that schedule? I see that we're meeting once in November, but we're going to meet 3 times in December to make up for that. So I think it's obviously, Selectman Hull, this is your first time dealing with this. If there's something that comes up that you cannot attend the meeting, and you give us enough notice, we can change the date of our meeting. So this is what we're recommending. This is the schedule that we're going to go by, but things happen, life happens, and we've changed in the past, and we will continue to change in the future. So I know it's not really too much of an option this year around, but as well as last year. So I'll entertain a motion that we adopt this schedule for July 1st through December 31st.
So move.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Selectman Zagorowski?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Commission on Human Rights. This is a letter that we received from the Vice Chair, to whom it may concern. This is addressed to the Board of Selectmen. As Vice Chair of the Dayton Commission on Human Rights, I would like to request that the Dayton Board of Selectmen appoint Jennifer Tukowski to be the newest member of our commission. Thank you, Jill Haru. Just so you know, we had 3 candidates at the last Human Rights Committee meeting that were to be interviewed. One did not attend the meeting, one left the meeting, and Jen Tukowski was present, and she was interviewed, and there was a recommendation that she be on the Human Rights Commission. So I will,
And it was the whole, I didn't mean to.
I will
It was
entertain a
the
motion.
whole-
Let's
It was the whole commission. It was the whole committee that voted it, because the letter just came from the vice chair. So I just want to make sure.
Yeah, she was elected vice chair. The whole, those committee members, we had a quorum. Not everybody attended, but it was unanimous that Jen Tukowski. Because I'm the liaison for the Human Rights, I'm a Board of Selectmen. I didn't ask any questions of her, knowing that I would be voting on
Sure.
their recommendations. So, but it was unanimous. So,
Mr. Chairman.
do you have a question?
I was actually going to make a motion.
Why don't you make the motion? I'm gonna let Selectman Hull make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jennifer Tukowski to the Commission of Human Rights.
Is
I
there
will
a
second that
second?
motion. That was great pronunciation. It
I
took me
know,
like 3 years to get it correct.
I'm still dealing with
Dr. Z.
Dr. Z is what I'm calling you.
I did the same thing. I was speech impediment.
He doesn't have that.
But I've been here longer. I should know. Any questions? If not, any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Next item is review, discuss, and act on Surge's contract awards for DPW, paper, and office supplies. I believe we've been given all this information with all the figures and the cost. In the past, we've approved these contracts. Is there any question on any of the information that's been presented to us?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
So I'll entertain a motion to award these Surge with these contracts for DPW, paper, and office supplies.
Just a point of order,
Sure.
may I ask a question of the town administrator? Mr. Administrator, do we want to do them separately, meaning first is the DPW supply, and then make a motion and vote on that, and then et cetera, or do them all as prepared tonight in one?
I think all is prepared and recommended. I think it's fine. I don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
Just a reminder, Dr. Z, we're going to be out of here by 11.
I know,
so just-
well, I was hoping you said that.
Thank you.
All right.
That was my question also, but I kept it to myself. But I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, if you're entertaining motions, I make a motion that we award the DPW supply, the paper supply, and the office supplies to the bidders as listed in the packet tonight.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. Item under new business, item 12D, review, discuss, and act on Pure Oasis 620 Spring Street approval for a virtual community outreach meeting. Do we have somebody here from?
So yes, Mr. Chair, we do have Colby Evans from Pure Oasis here with us this evening. But as I understand it, after Mr. Evans and I have been working to schedule a community outreach meeting that is actually required of all dispensaries and cultivators as part of their citing and licensing process through the Cannabis Control Commission. So this is the next step in the process of Pure Oasis. Right now, this is a potential date that is being looked at, subject to confirmation and after Pure Oasis receiving all the abutters list and everything else to go forward is June 10th, which is a Thursday. That I don't want to speak to Mr. Evans, but I assume that is subject to change based on the finalization. But I believe in accordance with the Cannabis Control Commission rules and/or regulations, in order to hold a virtual community outreach meeting, that Pure Oasis just needs the approval of the Board of Selectmen to be able to do that. Am I correct, Mr. Evans?
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. So we have a meeting on June 9th, so maybe we can let the public, if it's confirmed, that's going to be June 10th, let the public know on June 9th that there's going to be a virtual community outreach meeting. I will entertain a motion to approve this.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion. Oh, did you want to make a motion? No. Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we approve. Bear with me just a moment. Approve tentatively the virtual community outreach meeting for Pure Oasis for 620 Spring Street for June 10th, 2021. And with the understanding that this may be subject to change?
Yes, and technically you don't have to approve the meeting date, you just have
Oh,
to
okay.
allow the
We'll
meeting
scratch
to
it.
be held virtually.
You want to
Can we strike
reword
that?
that?
Yes,
Yes,
I
scratch
will.
that.
Mr.
Strike it from
Chairman,
the record.
absolutely, from your memories as well. Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we tentatively approve actually, we'll just approve the virtual community outreach meeting for Pure Oasis at 620 Spring Street.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? If not,
If
yep,
we're going to attend, will we have to also post it?
We should probably post it, but I don't plan on asking any questions. I would just sort of be there like in an
Wait a minute.
observatory.
you're not going to ask any
No,
questions?
I will reach out to him personally if I have a question.
Please put that in the minutes.
You have to bring that to the meeting
Yeah.
too.
That was a valid point. I may have some questions.
Mm-hmm.
You may have some questions. So we should post it as a Board of Selectmen meeting. And I'm sure we'll be giving the information. It's going to be Zoom or something similar to Zoom. Of course.
And if we're still under discussion, I just wanted to add, and I was privy to some of those emails that went back and forth, and I'm very excited about the potential for what this will bring to our town. So I just want to thank everyone, especially you, Town Administrator Mullen, for really just being an invaluable resource for Mr. Evans on this.
Yeah, like, and to echo that too, I mean, it's really a pleasure working with Mr. Evans, you know, I mean, in my opinion, really, the vision he has for the property for his business, and the pride he already is bringing to Dayton, like really speaks, you know, volumes in all the conversations I've had. So this is an exciting process we're embarking on. So
It is, and I wish Pure Oasis the best of luck on this. I'm looking forward to it opening up. So I'll call for a vote. There was a second, right? Call for a vote, Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico, also an aye. Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Thank you.
It's
Mr.
been
Evans.
approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You too.
So the next couple of items, let me read the letter. This was addressed to the board, to the town administrator and the Board of Selectmen. So, dear gentlemen, this is correspondence 13A. It is with great excitement that I finally and officially announce my retirement from my full-time assessor's position as of July 31st, 2021. I will continue to serve on the Board of Assessors until at least my term expires in April of 2022. After 23 plus years, I have to say I was very fortunate to be hired part-time between the town clerk, treasurer, collector, and the assessors department in March of 1998. Although I am very excited, it also with mixed emotions. What do you do after working so many years full-time? I'm sure it won't take me long to figure that out. Probably run for selectman, as I did. I enjoyed my time here and became a full-time assessor in March of 2007. I have seen many changes here, all for the better. The town of Dayton will continue to grow at a fast rate of speed, and we will see many more changes. Be assured the assessor's office will continue to be in good hands no matter who will replace me, and with the two awesome full-time employees, Valerie Wilson and Lisa Tetro. They are very hard workers and do anything to continue to run the department to its fullest expectations. The residents of Dayton, I would like you to know, if you don't know already, the whole town of Dayton has very devoted employees in all departments. I am very much enjoyed, and I very much enjoyed having to work with them in all different capacities. I would also like to thank everyone who has supported me over the course of my career here in Dayton. Sincerely, Carol Beauregard. Well, that's sad news.
I know.
It's good for her, but it's sad news. I will entertain a motion to accept and approve the resignation.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we approve approve. You can't retire until we let you. That we accept the resignation letter of Mrs. Carol Beauregard with thanks and appreciation for over 2 decades of dedicated service to our residents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes, I just wanted to very briefly say, Mrs. Beauregard, I know you're not watching, but if you ever watch the replay, it has been such a pleasure working with you. You were always there for me when I would come in the office. You dropped everything to answer my asinine questions. You were just such a valuable resource for me, especially when I got elected and didn't really know the ropes. And I just really want to thank you for everything you've done for our town and everything you do for the other elected officials and appointed officials. You will be very missed. And I hope to remain in contact with you with my stupid questions. So thank you very much.
Any other discussion? I would also like to thank Carol for all the work she's done for this town, and I hope she enjoys her retirement and has a good time in retirement. I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Ken Pacheco is also an aye. Correspondence B, Dear Chief, this is addressed to Chief Robert McDonald, Police Chief, dated April 21st. Dear Chief, I am writing to inform you of my resignation as a special police officer effective April 21st. That can't be 2001.
21, I think.
2021. It has been an honor and privilege to have served the town of Dayton for 50 years as a reserve and special officer. Respectfully submitted, Rogers Duart. I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to make a motion that we accept the resignation of Mr. Roger Duart with thanks and appreciation, excuse me, for 50 years of dedicated service and commitment to our town and our residents.
Is there
I
a
second it.
second? Any discussion?
Thank you, sir.
Selectman
Mr.
Hull?
Chairman. I had the opportunity as a member of the Dayton Rehoboth Regional School Committee to vote on Mr. Duart's retirement as a teacher, an outstanding teacher, I might add. On that particular night, I voted no because I didn't want to see him leave.
I didn't know.
But this time I won't do the same.
Oh,
I will say this. Roger has made an unbelievable contribution to this community as an educator and as a police officer, and has been a role model for so many people and so many children. I might also add, Mr. Duart was a member of the class of 61, along with another outstanding contributor to this town, Nancy Goodall, along with another member, I believe, a former selectman, and Ed Reese. Was he in there? I'm not sure that Ed grew up, I think he was helping, but he wasn't in my class. We are going to be sending Mr. Duart a letter of appreciation, is that correct?
you can make that motion if you wish.
Sure, we can.
Let's vote on this motion and then
Okay.
you can make that motion. I'll call for a vote if there's no further discussion. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Duart for 50 years of dedication to the town of Dayton. That's unbelievable. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. You want to make a motion?
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that a letter of appreciation for outstanding service to the town of Dayton, for his years as an educator, and for his 50 years as a reserve and special officer for the town of Dayton, be sent to Mr. Roger S. Duart.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull?
Aye.
Dr. Z?
Aye.
And Campuchico is also an aye. We have a third resignation. This was addressed to me because I'm the liaison for the Human Rights Committee. It's from Sean Cassidy. Ken, I hate to be doing this, but I have to resign from human rights. I have some health issues that will need some attention and will take some time to deal with. I hope you will accept my resignation at this time, and when things get better, I can reapply to join back up. I can just tell you, Sean was the chairman of the Human Rights Committee. He's done a lot of work. He's a strong believer in human rights. I wish him well on his health situation, and look forward to him getting better and joining the Human Rights Commission in the near future, hopefully. So I will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the resignation email of Mr. Sean Cassidy with thanks and appreciation for his hard work.
For a second.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Are there any acknowledgements?
No, we're not.
Minutes. I'm going to ask for a motion to accept for review the minutes from the Board of Selectmen's regular meeting of April 7th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, call for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Approval of the warrants. I almost want to ask Mrs. Goulart
I know. Old
Since she's
habit.
sitting
Old
here
habit.
to do this. Warrants dated May 5th, 2021. I'm going to be asking for a motion on this. 45A-21 payroll, $98,494.02. And 44B-21, $393,207.69.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the warrant as read by the chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Warrants dated May 12th, 2021. 46A-21, $98,731.73. 46B-21, $161,059.31. I'll ask for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the warrants dated May 12th, 2021 as read by the chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. Selectman Hull,
Aye.
Dr. Z,
Aye.
and Campuchico is also an aye. Public input. Did we, I know, Mrs. Gold, you want to speak, but did we get any emails or phone calls or?
No email.
Thank you. Mrs. Goulart?
Did you hear the first part when I was talking about MMA, the legislation that deals with reforestation? So I will get that to Mrs. Brady so it can be sent out.
Thank you.
It's quite lengthy, but there's a lot in it that could be beneficial to the environment. So, Brook Street Solar. That's the one that's got the letters and numbers for the name. The one we can't pronounce. I was contacted by Robert Thompson, who is the person that seems to be the problem solver as of late, or has solved all the problems we've had today. And he was calling because the culvert that they said was on its way from North Carolina has not been constructed. They're having problems with getting materials. He brought up the cyber attack on the gas line for all these delays. I will point out when we had our first meeting, pre-construction, the first thing they attempted was to change the type of culvert, and they were told no. I think I copied you on that.
Yeah.
So anyhow, now the problem is the culvert is, who knows if it's ever going to be built. So they want permission to use steel plates to cross the ditch. So I told Mr. Thompson I would have to check with Mr. Ferry and Mr. Aguirre and Mr. Mullen and ask them what they think about the whole thing. So where we are right now, and I called Mr. Thompson before I came here tonight. After meeting with Mr. Aguirre and Mr. Mullen this afternoon and having input from Mr. Ferry, the first thing they need to do is to update the SWIP. The SWIP is the Stormwater Pollution Prevention Plan, because now they've got to include in it these steel plates. We're going on the assumption they're going to do the steel plates as a temporary fix so they can get onto the property and start clearing it. So that's the first thing they have to do, and that's got to go to Mr. Pilling for review. And anything that they do on that property is going to be overseen by Mr. Aguirre, Mr. Pilling, and or Mr. Berry. Especially the plates should be readily available if they're going to use them, so that could happen next week maybe, but that's only going to happen if we get that SWIP in and it's approved. So they want the plates to go in so they can enter the property and clear the land. Well, obviously, they're not going to be able to have parking immediately. So I told them that the parking restriction is going to be on the north side of Brook Street. We don't want them parking on Pine Street. We don't want them anywhere near the corner. And there's a mandatory police detail on site while they're putting in those plates, because they were down there doing some things a week ago. And the first complaint we got, one of the requirements we had was that there would be police on duty. They didn't call for one, so now they're told they get a mandatory one to put those plates in for traffic and safety reasons. The signs aren't up yet, to the best of my knowledge. They're on order because Mr. Ferry has approved them, so supposedly they're on order. Now, Mr. Aguirre has required that he get a written plan of logistics that relate to these plates. Right down to the nitty gritty as far as the size, the dimensions, the amount of weight, maximum weight they can support. Mr. Ferry gave Mr. Aguirre instructions on things to do, if you will, to shore up the side of the ditches so that these plates don't cause the ditch to crumble. Fortunately, there's no water in the ditch at this time. It's been relatively dry, but that can be a problem too because it's crumbling. When they get on the property to clear land, another condition is they can entry onto the property is only going to be egress. They can get the heavy equipment on the property and they can clear the land. They have to have a stockpile of stumps, the trees, and anything they're not going to use on site, like chips they'll probably use on site. They're not going to be allowed to exit the site over the plates. They'll be allowed to cross to get in there with their equipment, but we're not going to allow trucks back and forth because we figure this is the plates are only to get them on the property. Exit from the property's got to be once they get the culvert in. Now, the other thing is, I've got to get in touch with Attorney Costa because I got to find out what kind of wording we need to reference in the license agreement that you all approved. Because the basic wording I'm looking for is that the town of Dayton will allow them to use the plates under the conditions that I've listed, and that everything in the license agreement relative to protecting the town from liability carries over to any amendment. The other thing will be, once we get the wording, things like that, the question will be whether or not it has to come back to the board for a vote, or if we will allow the town administrator to sign it. Obviously, if it's coming back to the board, it's 2 weeks away. It may take longer than 2 weeks to get this done anyhow. Mr. Thompson was not jumping with joy saying they can't wait to get started under these conditions. But I will also tell you that we are concerned about the fact that they can't get on the property. And I have given them information from Mr. Berry. One was the culvert company precast from Berkeley. And Mr. Thompson told me he contacted them and they gave him a 10-week potential. He still thinks he's going to have one up here from one of the Carolinas in 2 to 3 weeks, when they don't have materials to build it yet, but we'll see. I also gave him the name of Rotundo in Rehoboth, and he did contact that company, and they're going to get back to him Monday with a quote. I said to him, you know, who you use is up to you. We're only suggesting there may be potential local suppliers, but certainly who you use is up to you. So
Yeah,
that's
we've
where we
used
are with this.
Berkeley ourselves, I believe. in the
Yes,
past.
Mr. Berry does.
Yeah.
And he said that, Mr. Thompson said that the Berkeley precast company had said that 10 weeks, which surprised me. But anyhow, Mr. what other town. And the email that I copied Chairman Pacheco on, you can tell from the requests, they just don't get it. And Mr. Ed, the gentleman that said, he did write back and say, thank you very much for your lengthy explanation. I'm sure he had other words again from that email. But we're not trying to make life miserable for him. As I said, I don't think Mr. Ferry or Mr. Aguirre felt comfortable in recommending anybody. I just did it as an aside. I'm not connected to any of these companies or anything else. And if I told them, I said, if I have any other names of precast companies, I'll give them to you. You know, whether it's Berkeley or the Rehoboth company, my guess is they're probably within 12 miles of the site, and they think they're going to have something. As I said, I gave him all the terms and conditions. He's going to get back to me. Most of the things in there time-wise are going to be controlled by them. I will send an email to Matt, and I will copy you on it, just to tell Matt, here's the latest development. We need to be ready if we have to have some language just to amend this. But there are other options. Wait until you get your own contractor. But yeah, the town is doing everything it can. But by the same token, we're still protecting the town. So that's where we are with this.
Thank you.
My question is to the town manager. Mr. Goulart, you mentioned.
Well, our attorney, Matt Costa,
Right.
and I assume somebody or Grasshopper reviewed it. I'm quite sure, isn't it? Yes, I know they did, because we had a broad statement about the selectmen's right to revoke for, I forgot what we said, and they wrote back and said, well, that's too broad, what does that mean? So I said to Matt, okay, so we listed every possible law and bylaw things we could list from the Wetlands Protection Act to the town's bylaws to the EPA. And then the last part of it was, and any other applicable law or regulation not listed herein. I mean, so they didn't come back after that as far as revoke.
Which department is paying the legal fees?
It's the town council, I think it's the town council budget one.
Yes.
So just the
Yes.
state or the.
Yes. Yes.
And that would be a discretionary spending their people if they come under your domain.
Depending on the cost.
Yeah, depending on those bills that are usually very much under the limit. Yes. Yeah.
And then there might be a space, and then you'll see again a reference to, let's say, Brook Street Solar. But yes, the other thing I will tell you is the pilot agreements, and this is one of the companies that is asking for a pilot that's on the warrant. There's a clause in there that states that the developer will pay the town $5,000 to offset the cost of legal expenses and recording. So we don't get those kind of costs as far as legal expenses. And quite frankly, if we did, we'd be telling them we want more money to cover it. But this is a clause outside of the other kinds of special accounts we have, where we ask them to put money aside for maintenance of basins and things like that. So, and I know the Brook Street decommissioning bond has already been posted. They paid their stormwater fee, which was less than $3,000, but they've also paid their building permit, which is in excess of $80,000. It's like $86,000. It's a big number. It's almost $90,000 so far just in permitting that they have paid. The $50,000 bond is for decommissioning, and then stormwater has a bond on the basins. If they don't keep them maintained, we will maintain them and build them, and they'll have to put money back into those accounts. And the other one is the maintenance of the ditch that they have to cross. There's an account to cover that also, if they have to maintain it. So.
Actually, may I write something else if you don't mind? The council bills that the former selectman is referring to do come to the selectmen. So we can review them and then we initial them and they're usually on like a color.
Yeah, it's usually blue, yeah, or lavender sometimes, but
And
yeah.
then it gives a short description of what it is.
Yes.
So if you ever have a question, you can ask. Town administrator.
Thank you, Nancy.
Someone asked.
Is there any other public input?
Someone asked if the audio cut out, Mr. Tom Gucci. It's not that it cut out, Mr. Gucci, it's that former selectman who was standing at the podium. And the audio from the microphone from the laptop, it can't pick her up. So if you would like to hear her portion, then you need to watch the Channel 9 meeting. You can hear it. Well, YouTube would be the Zoom. So YouTube the Zoom? Yeah. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so you can just rewatch it.
Is there any other input?
Oh, Mr. Chair, I just want to mention stormwater committee meeting is going to be, the next stormwater committee meeting is the 26th of May, 1 o'clock. This will be on it along with the Winthrop Street that he's describing, and we have 3 or 4 other warm topics. They're not hot yet, but they're warm. That when the agenda comes out, you want to take a look at them. One cease and desist, one property was in receipt of 2 cease and desists for illegal dumping. And they hired an attorney, and I informed him he could come to the meeting with his client or whatever, but that's just some of the stuff that's coming up.
May I touch base with you offline?
Oh, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I can talk to you guys now without violating the open meeting law.
Okay, I guess my question, I'll just ask you.
Okay.
I was wondering about the location.
Is there any other public input for anybody on Zoom? If not, I will believe we're at the point where we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? If not, I'll call for the vote. Selectman Hull? Aye. Dr. Z? Aye. And Campuchico? Thank you, everybody.